is that Pools need to try and carry that over this afternoon.
Yeah, I heard bits of our fans panel on Thursday night on BBC Radio T Sport with Mark Carroll, who's a seasoned Pool. He travels home and away, of course, and a member of our fans panel, calling for two strikers as we did get underway. Ben Atkinson got us underway here at Damson Park, the referee, but then he reckoned that one or two of the Poolies had gone a little bit too early and told Adam Campbell to take the kick-off once more. And that he will do now. We are underway here in the National League. It's back to Max Coogan, and his long ball's a bit misdirected, to be honest. Easy clearance for the Solihull defence, and the ball's up in the air and battling away. There's Rhys McNally. Forward will come Solihull in the opening exchanges. It's one then, it's out to the right hand side. Going to look to go past Max Coogan, who battles back, does well, and that's gone out off the Solihull man. Will be a goal kick. It's well recovered by Max Coogan there. It looked like for a moment, actually it was Rhys McNally, I beg your pardon, who got back at his man there. Looked like he'd lost the man down the right hand side, gone past him. He was looking to cut in field and get a cross away, but he got back and went out in the end off the Solihull man.
And the one thing that Pools have defensively, Matty, is they've got good athletes, and that does give you good powers of recovery. Coogan, McNally, Cameron John, all naturally centre halves, but they've got real athleticism. And it was good defending there, as you said, because quite a bright start from Solihull, and it feels important today that the Pools start well and try and take the game to their hosts.
A minute on the clock. You're listening to BBC Radio T Sport on DAB Digital Radio, BBC Sounds, and online via the BBC Football website. Solihull Moors 0, Hartlepool United 0. Nick Hayes' goal kick just went straight out for a Solihull throw, and they'll now come forward. Long ball. It's cleared by Coogan, and then Holohan will try and keep it in place. He managed to do so, I think, just about. Alex Reid will battle with the centre half there. It goes out off that centre half, which was the Solihull captain Alex Whitmore, for a Hartlepool United throw on halfway.
And Solihull, initially at least, quite direct, trying to get the ball from back to front fairly quickly. You wonder whether the condition of the pitch, which given the weather actually doesn't look the worst, whether that's going to have an effect as the game goes on. From a Pools perspective, it's really important that they get players much closer to Alex Reid, especially with Luke Charman, who I think has been perhaps their best attacking outlet for large parts of the season, only on the bench today. Yeah,
Solihull win it and will come forward. Lipsitch in field, and we're going to look to spread play. No Joe Sparrow this afternoon, which is a big blow for Moors. He's missing this afternoon, we think, through a slight knock he's picked up, but they are on the attack all the same. It is Wilkinson on the edge of the area. We'll go back a few yards. Early shot blocked there by the Pools captain this afternoon, Rhys McNally, but Solihull in possession, around about 35 yards out. Little bit of interplay in midfield, but Pools will win it back, and it's back to Max Coogan, who, Cruyff turn in his area. Did well to get away from his man, and it's calm and as cool as a cucumber to get it to the feet of Campbell, and Pools in comfortable possession on the edge of the area now as Coogan, just as I say that, gets the ball stuck under his feet, under a bit of pressure, and will go up long towards Reid, but it's over his head and safely back in the possession of the horse here, Solihull Moors in the National League.
Did really well initially, Coogan, didn't he, Matty? But took a chance by trying again to almost do that sort of Cruyff turn, which had got him out of trouble at first, and I don't think Nicky Featherstone will want to see his defenders trying that too often this afternoon.
Or the Hartlepool United fans either. I wouldn't mind betting Robbie is a long ball down the Solihull right, headed infield by Cam John, and then across sweeps McNally to clear it into the Solihull half. Reid will play a lovely little ball to Tyree Sinclair, who's driving at the Solihull defence towards the edge of the area, tries a shot, it's right across the face of goal. Campbell tried his best to get up there in support, was a few yards behind that one. Tyree Sinclair, who was on loan here earlier in the season, tried his luck from an acute angle, and it just flashes wide of the post of Laurie Walker.
Yeah, he does really well. It's really positive play. Alex Reid does well initially to win the flick on, but that's exactly where you want Tyree Sinclair and your other attacking players. You want them to be close enough to your number 9. Of course, a lot of talk about where the Pools should play 2 up front, but you want your attacking players to get close enough to Alex Reid that those flick-ons can then produce something rather than just fizzle out. It was always going to be a difficult angle, but a really purposeful driving forward run from Sinclair.
Yeah. Solihull's last win here was on Boxing Day, 7-1 hammering of Tamworth. Tyree Sinclair actually scored the 4th goal in that one for Solihull Moors on his loan spell. He was of course recalled by York and now is at Hartlepool United. But a bright moment there for him in the opening exchanges. 4 minutes gone, it remains goalless in the National League. Solihull 0, Pools 0, but it's Solihull in possession midway inside the Pools half down the left. Wakeland will go in field. It misses its intended target, which was the number 8 there, Isaac Muir, but Pools will clear, headed out of play. Has that gone out off Campbell? I think it has. Solihull throw about 5 yards shy of the Hartlepool United penalty area. Green down this left-hand side to take the throw. Goes infield. We get it back now, Green. Nice bit of interplay, but it's comfortable headed away for J. Ben. Flick further away by Jack Hunter. Was he nudged in the back there? Yes. According to referee Ben Atkinson. And I think Pools and Solihull will have to be maybe a little wary of Ben Atkinson this afternoon, because he's mainly refereed in League One this year, a couple of National League as well, and some FA Cup ties, but there's 22 games he's been in charge of. There's been 108 bookings and 5 reds, which seems to me like a heck of a lot in that amount of games.
I think in terms of the 90 minutes today, Matty, consistency is all you can ask for. Referees are always going to approach things slightly differently. Personally, I think you can over-referee football matches. I'd like to see the referee let the game flow as much as possible, but of course Pools and Solihull will need to be mindful of that.
Yeah, the best referees for me are the ones you barely notice in a game of football. As Solihull pick up possession after a slightly shaky Nick Hayes clearance that bobbled around in midfield. Haven't missed anything those. Moores go down the right hand side this time. It's with James Clark who go infield, just knocking it around, and Pools happy to stay in their positions and make it difficult for him. As McNally followed his man across to the right hand side there and got a foot in and directed it out of play for a Solihull throw. It's taken quickly there on the right. In comes Cam John though to deny Lipsuch. Be another throw to Solihull on the right, this time about 8 to 9 yards up from the corner flag on their right hand side in front of the travelling Hartlepool United fans. It's a throw infield looking for Wilkinson, who's going to look to hold it up ahead of McNally. Manages to do so, tries to get it infield, and the referee spotted a handball there and given a penalty. Wilkinson did a couple of kick-ups about 12 yards out, slightly to the right of the area, and tried to play a ball in field. The Pools player was about a yard away, and the referee has given a penalty. That seems incredibly harsh to me, but nonetheless, it's a chance for the horse to go in front. Penalty on 7 minutes to Solihull.
It's one of those, isn't it, Matty? There's so much debate around the handball rule. I'm not sure anyone really knows. It's such a grey area, isn't it? I think from where we are, you can see it does hit his hand, but as you say, there's so little time for the defender to react.
Away, isn't he?
And then you have to ask the question, is the hand in a natural position? What is a natural position for a defender? It certainly doesn't look to me to be a deliberate handball. What I would say is Pools a little bit too deep the last couple of minutes, and they invite that pressure on themselves, and that's really frustrating to see.
Yeah, that seemed incredibly harsh to me. I think if you're giving that penalty, then there's going to be 2 or 3 a game for handball, because it's just been kicked at pace at the Pools defender inside the box. But nonetheless, it is a penalty to Solihull Moors. Connor Wilkinson, the man to take it for the home side. Nick Hayes tries to make himself big on the line. Wilkinson to take this spot kick. He'll take it left-footed. Now sends Hayes the wrong way, and the horse are in front. He rolls it into the bottom right corner. Hayes went the other way, and on 8 minutes, Solihull Moors hit the front. Solihull Moors 1, Hartlepool United 0.
Yeah, it was a really cool penalty, wasn't it? And he's probably been the outstanding performer in the opening 8 or 9 minutes. Connor Wilkinson, a big sort of target man profile of player, but he's had some nice touches too, and that was a really deft spot kick. From a Pools point of view, they've just been a little bit flat. I thought they started the game well enough the first 2 or 3 minutes, but as we've said so often at various times this season, they just sit too deep. I understand the thinking behind this is an away game against one of the better teams in the division, and you want to be well organised and well structured, but I think there's a balance to be had between trying to be resolute and difficult to break down and just inviting pressure on. Pools, as we seem to say every week, are far too deep, and they've been made to pay for that already.
As we're back underway here, long ball forwards headed clear by Solihull Moors, one in the air there by Jay Bennett and picked up by Adam Campbell. Campbell has Ben outside of him, finds the feet of Reed on 30 yards, tries a ball across field looking for Tyrese Sinclair. Is the back pass short, and Sinclair nearly nipped in there, and then the ball hits the referee after a clearance from Laurie Walker. I thought the defender had just sold Walker short for a second there, because Tyrese Sinclair was advancing at pace, but he just about managed to scramble it clear, but kicked it straight at referee Ben Atkinson, so it'll be a drop ball in the midfield.
Did well in the end, the goalkeeper, Matty, and I feel like a broken record because I say this every week, but when Alex Reed gets the ball in the build-up there's no Pools attacker within 10 or 15 yards of him. He has to try and play a Hollywood pass, and that's something that's got to change, not just today, but for the rest of the season as well.
As the ball ends up back with Nick Hayes following the drop ball, and little ball in field from Jay Ben sells Campbell short and allows Moore, the Coventry City loanee, joined Solihull a little earlier this week on an initial month's loan. Just nipped in, took it off the toes of Campbell, and Solihull will come again down the right hand side. Looking for the head of the man there. Has it gone out of play? It has. The official on the far side puts his flag up. Cam John was having to keep a close eye on Lipsutch, who's been a bit of a menace in the opening 10 minutes or so for Solihull. But on that occasion, it was just too far out on that right hand side and goes out of play for a Pils throw.
Yeah, Solihull threatening from wide areas, and also what's caught my eye is they press really well. I think Hartlepool United, sometimes you don't quite know whether they're going to stick or twist, whether they're going to sit or whether they're going to try and go and press teams. The thing that's impressed me in the opening 10 minutes about the home side performance out of possession is that they press really well as a team, and that makes it very difficult for Pools to play through.
As forward come Hartlepool United here with Tyrese Sinclair. He's nearly took out by a Solihull man, had to check his run, made the point to the referee because he would have lost possession there, Sinclair, as Pools broke forward. And the referee does say, yep, you did have to avoid the man there or you would have been taken out at pace, and gives a free kick to Hartlepool United 10 yards inside the Solihull half, slightly left of centre. Jamie Miley stands over it.
He's the one, isn't he, Matty? Tyrese Sinclair. He's the one Pools player who's looked really genuinely threatening, and he's the one Pools player who has natural pace and the ability potentially to stretch Solihull. So important Pools get him involved as much as possible.
There's a long ball into the boxes from Miley, headed infield by Max Coogan, but then cleared away by Solihull. Miley looks to bring it down, but can't get control of it, and Solihull will pick up possession with it. No, Gav Holohan flicks it out off the Solihull man, does he? Or is it going to work? Yeah, it goes the way of Hartlepool United. That was one of those cases where the linesman looked at the referee looked at the linesman, and eventually the linesman made a decision.
Whatever the case, Gavin Holohan does really well. That is one thing that he's always been renowned for, his relentless hard work. He's 34 now, but he keeps himself in pristine condition, really physically impressive, and some good defensive work because Jamie Miley was caught out initially.
And he was actually direct in play there as Pils went back to Nick Hayes in the goal, and then work it across the defence. In quickly there to win, it's Jack Hunter, and it's at the feet of Jamie Miley now in the midfield. Ball right across to this right hand side, and Jay Ben, who can open his legs now, right by the touchline, chalk on his boots. Under pressure there from the Solihull man though, hits the deck. And the referee's given a free kick against Jay Ben there. Not entirely sure how. The Solihull man slid in to get control of the ball, and the referee spotted a foul there. I'm conscious I don't want to talk about the referee, but there's been one or two puzzling decisions in the opening stages, Robbie. Yeah,
I mean, I would say I think Jacob Wakeling did really well initially, did well to track Jay Ben and then win the ball back. Perhaps I think you could make a case that maybe the momentum is what takes both players over. A little bit unfortunate for Pools maybe to concede a free kick in that sense, but at the same time, credit to the Solihull man, Jacob Wakeling. It was some good defensive work.
Just approaching the 13th minute mark here in the West Midlands. It's Solihull Moors 1, Hartlepool United 0 on BBC Radio T Sport. An 8th minute penalty from Connor Wilkinson, given for a handball in the box from a Pools man. It was a melee of bodies, so it was hard to pick out exactly whose arm it hit. Seemed slightly harsh from our perspective because the Pils player was probably half a yard away from Wilkinson as he tried to hook it infield inside the box, but it was given, and Wilkinson dispatched from 12 yards, sent Nick Hayes the wrong way, and it's Solihull with the advantage. So work for Hartlepool United to do in the opening stages here. They work it well up towards halfway. Cameron John will come down the left hand side now. He has Sinclair in advance, little too far away from Sinclair with his pass though, Cameron John, and Solihull can clear it out for a Pils throw around about halfway. Goes backwards from Jack Hunter, keen to get on with it and get the ball in play. McNally will give it to Jamie Miley, who's going to try a ball over the top looking for Campbell. Good run behind the defence, just too much on it though, and Laurie Walker can come out and collect. Good to see Pils trying something a little bit different though, Robbie.
Exactly that, Matty. I think sometimes Pils can be a little bit safe with their passing. It was a really good run by Adam Campbell. Credit to Laurie Walker because he reads it well in his office line quickly. But as you say, I think Pils fans will certainly be pleased to see their side at least trying to make things happen and play with a bit more purpose.
As another budget airline flies from Birmingham Airport directly in front of us, as Pils, who are wearing a similar colour to that budget airline this afternoon, work it out towards the left hand side. Looking for Tyrese Sinclair there was Campbell, and Sinclair cynically kind of barges into the back there of James Clark, and I don't think there was any hesitation there from Ben Atkinson. Free kick to Solihull Moors. Around about the corner of their own box on the right.
And again, you can see that Pools are trying to get Tyrese Sinclair involved in the game at every available opportunity. I think what I would like to see is Cameron John, although not necessarily renowned for his attacking qualities, make those overlapping runs. Solihull, to their credit, have tried to leave 3 up, which makes it more difficult for the defenders to take a risk and make a break from defence to try and get forward in support. But look, Nicky Featherston said before the game that this was a must-win game. Pools are going to need to try and make something happen in order to get themselves back in the game and try and go on and win it.
It's going to be the Solihull keeper Walker to take this free kick, launch it into the Hartlepool United half. Up goes Hunter, wins his header, flicked further on by Campbell. Reed battles to try and get a foot on the ball, but he's beaten to it by Whitmore, and Solihull have the ball back. It's across the defence there. Clark will go down the right hand side to Lipsuch, and Solihull quite comfortable possession as Pools just drop off slightly towards their own half. They're trying not to drop as deep as Robbie described they were in the opening exchanges, Pools, but quite a big gap between the defensive line and the midfield at the minute as Solihull come forward down the right hand side, looking for Lipsuch again in field, and worked round the corner there for the number 11 Ben Warman. Warman will keep it in play just up by the touchline. He's got McNally for company, looking for some support is Warman. Plays a lovely little ball in field for Lipsuch through the legs of McNally, but Cam John battles back and takes it up. Lipsuch and Pools can come clear. Good ball in field from Tyrese Sinclair. Pools work it well up by the edge of their own penalty area. Campbell forces Holohan to retreat, but Holohan will get the ball again, keep it in play on this right hand side and advance towards halfway. Cuts back in himself. There's Gavin Holohan under the Solihull press, and Pools, it's just a little bit too slow and laboured at present, isn't it? Whenever they do get the ball, they can't seem to get forward quickly enough, Robbie.
I think one of the issues that they do have, Matty, though, is Pools have got good technical midfielders, but there's a lack of runs, a lack of options, a lack of forward movement in front of them. That makes it difficult to speed up play and play those quick forward passes.
Solihull back in quite comfortable possession on halfway. Miley will press the Moors back line, but Whitmore, the captain, can just take his time and play a square ball to the right hand side. It's down the line there for Clark, who hooks it in field. Enough time though for McNally to bring it down and advance towards halfway. He's got Holohan for company, goes forward instead to Miley, who has it taken off his toes there by Moore, the Coventry City man. Plays a lovely ball round the corner looking for Wilkinson in towards the channel, but across goes McNally, deals with it, and then Hayes will play it to Coogan. Infield for Campbell, back a few yards for Hunter. Solihull's press is relentless at present, and Pools just can't find the time nor space to pick out a pass that's anything other than backwards at present. Goes out a few yards there to McNally, still midway inside his own half. Good work by the Solihull attacking players, you have to say, to not allow Pools a second to measure a pass and assess their options. As the ball's played right the way across their Pools back line again. Coogan will advance towards halfway, plays the ball down the right hand side for Jay Ben. Under pressure again from Wakeling. His ball in field is a poor one, but Pools will win it back. In fact, they did momentarily through Campbell, and then in was 2 Solihull men to get it back off the toes of Adam Campbell, and it's up towards halfway. And that was McNally's header, and that was a free kick, pretty obvious one. I think Pools would have had an opportunity on the edge of the box. I don't think the referee was actually going to give it initially. The fourth official told him that it was a blatant push in the back, I think, and he did blow for the free kick in the end. It's in the centre circle that goes the way of Solihull Moors.
Yeah, slightly unusual one, Matty, because as you say, it looked like a really blatant push. I think everyone else here in the ground, probably other than the referee, would have seen that. The referee, to his credit, was up right on the scene. Look, in the end, the right decision is made. You alluded to something there, Matty. Solihull's press, their work out of possession, their defensive organisation It's so much better than Hartlepool United. It's
more coordinated and joined up, isn't it?
It's so much more coordinated. You often wonder what exactly is Pool's game plan, other than to sort of sit in a bank of 4, a bank of 5, and try and be difficult to beat.
The Solihull now come down the right-hand side. There's a ball in towards the middle from Lipsuch. It's cleared away by McNally, though. And Reid will look to come forward. He's tripped there by the Solihull man. Free kick to Hartlepool United, just shy of the centre circle inside their own half. Hunter in possession. Sorry, I had to cut you off for a second there, Robbie. There's a ball forward, finds inadvertently Campbell. He's advancing towards the edge of the area, tries a right-footed shot. Straight. Relatively comfortable for Laurie Walker just to drop to his right-hand side in the end. Opportunity for Hartlepool United, though, as we approach the 20th minute. And it remains Solihull 1, Pools 0.
It was an opportunity, and Adam Campbell, I know he divides opinion. I think he certainly does a lot of good work without the ball, but sometimes he finds himself in those positions and he never really has any conviction. You never felt like he thought he was going to score, and in the end it was a really tame effort. You
kind of wanting Campbell to just put his foot through it, aren't you? And he tried to place it towards the bottom corner, and again, it's just too close to the keeper.
A lack of confidence, perhaps, Matty. He has improved a little bit under Nicky Featherstone, or more than a little bit, but he's had a pretty torrid time since signing for Hartlepool United in the summer of 2024. Obviously big things expected of him, and for whatever reason he hasn't been able to really deliver on that initial promise, and he often looks like a player who doesn't really have that self-belief, and as a professional footballer that is so important, and it's down to Nicky Featherstone, and it's probably down to his teammates as well to try and reinstill that, because he is a talented footballer.
There's Pools working it across the back again. Back to Nick Hayes inside his 18-yard box. 21 minutes on the clock. You listen to BBC Radio T's Sport. Pools trailing here against Solihull Moors in the National League. Remains goalless in that County Durham derby in National League North between Spennymoor and Darlington, as Jamie Marley's dispossessed around 30 yards out from his own goal. McNally can mop things up though, but Solihull back in possession up towards halfway. Clark goes down the right hand side. Good flick infield from Lipsuch. It's with the number 11 now, Ben Warman. Warman to the feet of Wilkinson on the edge of the area. Out towards the left hand side now. Green going to measure a left footed cross towards the far post. Over the head of everyone in both a yellow and orange shirt though. And it'll go out and behind for a Hartlepool United goal kick. Pools still trailing by a goal to nil.
Solihull at the moment though so much more impressive than Pools. Matty, we spoke before the game about sometimes with Hartlepool United they are so inconsistent you never quite know whether you're going to get a really high level of performance or a really low level of performance. They were super impressive against York, albeit they lost the game in the end. I think there is a frustration sometimes with Nicky Featherstone. It's not good enough just to say, well, they're inconsistent, I don't know what sort of performance I'm going to get, I don't know what to expect. As a manager, you are responsible for driving standards, for setting the tone. It's pretty clear at the moment that it's not working for Poole, so why is Featherstone not doing more to try and compel his players to get 5 yards further up the pitch, to play with a little bit more intensity in possession, to try and press Solihull, make it difficult for them with the ball? At the moment, I'm not really seeing that at all.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that Pools have necessarily been a lot worse than Solihull, but Solihull have just had the edge and looked more convincing, haven't they? As Pools played all the way back to Nick Hayes, nearly has to take off his toe there from Lipsuch, and Hartlepool United will play it out through defence again. It's a frustrating kind of conundrum, isn't it? I wonder whether there will be a thought to switch it to that formation that you referenced a little earlier that we saw at York City, where you feel that Pools can be on the front foot a little more at some point.
Because they're
3-4-3.
just so flat, Matty, whether it's with or without the ball, they're just so flat.
As Gavin Holohan's going to score an own goal! Oh my days, that is awful! Hartlepool United playing it across the back. Coogan played it to the feet of Holohan, and on 24 minutes he's put it into the back of his own net from 25 yards. Hayes did his best to get back on his line, but it just flew into the bottom corner. It is Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 0, and this first half has just gone from bad to absolutely awful for Pools.
Well, it's just a nightmarish goal to concede, Matty. And look, on the one hand, it is difficult to legislate for that. And look, Gavin Holohan, I think, plays the pass without really looking. Clearly, the condition of the pitch, given the recent weather, makes that a precarious thing to do in and of itself. It's not a great ball to to him from Max Coogan either, and I think Nick Hayes is slightly out of position, but you just cannot legislate for that. What I would say is credit to Solihull Moors, because again they pressed really well. Hartlepool United though, it's just aimless at the minute, really frustrating to watch.
As forward comes Solihull again with Lipsuch. McNally's just doing his best to try and see it out and behind for a goal kick. He does so, it is a goal kick, but that was like comical defensively from Hartlepool United. It's the type of thing, if anyone listening remembers the own goals and gaffes videos and DVDs used to get in the 90s and noughties, it's the type of thing that you'd have seen David Seaman presenting on one of those back in the day. It was just absolutely awful.
I mean, if you saw it on a Sunday League pitch tomorrow, Matty, you would think it was shocking. It really is shocking. The concern for me is not just that sort of calamitous individual error that we've seen, but if this is a must-win game for Hartlepool United and this is the best they can conjure up, both in terms of performance but also energy and commitment levels, then that has to be a massive, massive concern.
So Pools trailing here 2-0 in the National League. A Holohan own goal after a Wilkinson penalty on 8 minutes for the home side, and something needs to change here for Hartlepool United. Yeah, I don't think Gavin Holohan will want to see that one again. His last Pools goal came on the 28th of August 2021 in a win over Carlisle in League 2. A 2-1 home win. I bet he didn't think when he returned to Pools his next goal would come at the wrong end in that fashion.
No, and of course Nicky Featherstone can't legislate for something like that. That is just an individual error, self-inflicted though, as I say, because I think Pools were sort of aimlessly passing the ball around at the back and inviting pressure from Solihull. It's easy to say with Pools 2-0 down after 26, 27 minutes, but I think like a lot of Hartlepool United fans, when they saw the team at 2 o'clock, this feels like Nicky Featherstone has picked the wrong team, because Pools do not really seem to have a clear structure. They don't seem to have a clear game plan. We've spoken so often about footballing identity, and in the first 27 minutes here you can see exactly what Solihull are trying to do under Chris Millington. As far as Hartlepool United under Nicky Featherstone this afternoon, I have absolutely no idea.
So plenty for Featherstone to ponder on the touchline, as a long goal kick is going to find Tyree Sinclair up by the edge of the Solihull penalty area. Tries a little ball in field for Holohan at the right end this time. Good defensive work though from the Coventry City loanee Isaac Moore. Just got a foot in there as Holohan was going to just dink it, or try to dink it, over the head of the goalkeeper. Pools play it up towards halfway. Wilkinson hits the deck. Referee says nothing doing. Wilkinson rolling around. I think he's seemed like a 50-50 from where we're sat, but Wilkinson certainly come off the worse. He stayed down, laying flat on his back. Referee not compelled to stop the game, of course, because it's not a head injury, but Pools through Cam John do put it out for a throw on the far side, and Jack Hunter says, why are we putting the ball out? Because Wilkinson's just got straight back to his feet as soon as he's done that.
He's quite right, I think. It's a frustration sometimes that head injury room is open to manipulation, because as a player you know that you can hold your head and the referee has no choice but to stop the game. But it was clear there that Connor Wilkinson was certainly not suffering an injury to his head. Whether it was a foul or not, I'm not quite sure. But Hartlepool United, they're 2 goals down in a really important match in the National League playoff race. I think you can be too nice and you can be too soft sometimes, and we've seen that so far today.
Jay Ben's going to launch it down the right hand side for Reed to challenge for. It was cleared though through a combination of Solihull players, but then Campbell will try a ball towards the channel, brought down on the chest by Alex Whitmore, the Solihull captain, who launches it into the Pools half. Wilkinson's got a hold there at the Pools man's shirt, surely, and the referee was 10 yards away, hasn't done anything, but Pools do come out with it, and it goes all the way back to Hayes, who launches it into the afternoon sky, but the flicked header from Reed has no one behind it, and Solihull back in comfortable possession.
Frustrating watch at times, Matty, because Nicky Featherstone is right in front of us. He's getting really frustrated at Alex Reed, but it cannot all be down to Alex Reed. Pools are clearly not playing to his strengths, just like they haven't played to Danny Johnson's strengths all season either. Alex Reed wins the flick on. Yes, maybe you could make a case that he needs to have more awareness to see who's around him, and potentially there were some better options than going for the flick on that he did in this instance. But Pools need to do much more to get more bodies around him. At the moment, it just feels so aimless. We've said before, you wonder what are Hartlepool United trying to do, what's the game plan, but how are they trying to score a goal? Because at the moment it seems to me every time they have the ball they're either inviting pressure on themselves by passing the ball around at the back without really going anywhere, or they're just hopefully punting it forward. There's no sort of middle ground, there's no real structure or patterns of play, and again, that is a big concern for Pools.
As the ball is with Pools in midfield after it gone out for a throw via the Solihull man on the far side, and Hunter has it inside the centre circle in his own half, looking for some options, goes out towards the left hand side, and Cameron John, who'd advanced to about 10 yards inside the Solihull half, but John is forced backwards with a lack of options in field, and Miley will play it across the defence to Coogan, Max Coogan, out to the right hand side, and Jay Ben. His touch is loose though, and it goes out off the Solihull man, and it'll be surely that's a throw to Hartlepool United. Wow, Wakeland got a foot in there, and I think because he and Chris Millington shouted at the linesman who was about 10 yards away, it was given away as Solihull Moors.
Yeah, pretty much everything's gone against Hartlepool, hasn't it? When it's not your day, it's not your day, and already half an hour in, it feels like it's going to be one of those days for Pools. I think if I'm Nicky Featherstone, I'm thinking already I need to change something, whether that's tactical or in terms of the team out there. Difficult to make a substitution in the first half, but I think you could certainly make a compelling case for making at least one already.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. As Hunter hits the deck, I think he felt he was being fouled. Referee Ben Atkinson thought he was doing the foul, and free kick to Solihull Moors, left of centre, around about 10 or 15 yards inside the Hartlepool United half.
Needs to do more though. Jack Hunter, Jamie Miley, they're good players, but one of those two in midfield, they have an important role to play, both of them. They need to take the game by the scruff of the neck. They need to try and take charge in the engine room, because at the moment Pools are being absolutely dominated in there. Ben
Warman it is to take the free kick, left-footed, raises both arms now, he's going to whip it in, and the referee wants to stop a bit of pushing and shoving up by the edge of the penalty area. The line's actually about 2 or 3 yards up from the D on the edge of the 18-yard box. Defensive line from Hartlepool United. One man left up by Pools is Tyrese Sinclair. The referee thinks he's sorted things out there, and Warman will look to go again, left-footed up towards the edge of the area. It's hooked more away from the box than towards it though, and Pools can come clear. Alex Reid looks to go past a Solihull man in Whitmore, and Pools take the free kick quickly because Whitmore was penalised. Down the right hand side now is Tyrese Sinclair. He has Ben going on the overlap if he wants to, comes in field instead, does Sinclair, but it's back to walking pace, and Solihull can retreat and get back into possession, and Pools go all the way back to defence. That was an opportunity to hit them on the counter there. They took the free kick quickly, Pools did the right thing, and then it was just right, let's go back and start again. As it's out towards the right hand side, Ben up for the header with the left back Green. It's Green who comes out on top, and Solihull can clear, one in the air by Hunter, and then Miley will flick it forward, brought down by Campbell, who just flicks it inside. It's to the feet of Miley again. Miley under a bit of pressure from Moore, hits the deck, does Jamie Miley. Nothing doing according to the referee, but it's out to the left hand side there, and Cam John gets a return pass from Sinclair. John infield for Campbell, to the edge of the area, and Reid tries a little ball back looking for Campbell, and then Solihull will come clear. It was a poor pass, and Wilkinson's just thrown McNally to the floor there, and I think he is going to go in the book. Connor Wilkinson, yep, the ball was nowhere near Connor Wilkinson there. It's clearly a battle that's been going on most of the game, and Wilkinson pretty much judo throwed the Hartlepool United captain to the floor, and I think pretty correctly goes in the referee's notebook.
Of course, and the dark arts is all part of the game, isn't it, Matty? But quite clearly you can't do something as obvious as that, and I think he deserves to be in the book. A really interesting battle though.
Free kick's taken quickly to Tyrese Sinclair into the box now, whips it across the face of goal. It's gone all the way through, everybody in their Pools and Solihull in between, and it's out of the other side. Good opportunity though, because it was a smartly and quickly taken free kick that found Sinclair out in space on the left hand side. Just no finishing touch after Sinclair's ball in the middle.
And he's the one player, again we've already said, Tyrese Sinclair, who looks like he might make something happen from a Hartlepool United point of view. Look, the two goals they've conceded are really poor goals. Obviously you could maybe make an argument that the penalty was a little bit unfortunate, albeit I think Pools invited the pressure on themselves in the build-up, but in possession I think a combination of a lack of intent and purpose in terms of the passing, but also an almost total absence of forward runs and proper movement. It's made it really difficult for Hartlepool United to get into this game in an attacking sense.
This has been a break in play. There's a Solihull man, can't quite make out who it is at the moment, but he sat on his backside inside the 18-yard box receiving a bit of treatment. I think we'll be heading across to the National League North shortly, because there's been a goal in the County Durham derby between Darlington and Spennymoor Town at the home of Spennymoor, the Brewery Field. Details of that shortly. Yeah, there's a Solihull man on the deck there. I think it might be James Clark, just receiving some magic spray now from the Solihull physio.
Yeah. Matty, just before we go away, you look at the two teams here in the break in play. Pools have got Nicky Featherstone and Gary Little, and look, I don't want to criticise them all the time. It's a break in play. It's a chance to get some tactical instruction over. It's a chance to send a message. Featherstone just stands in his technical area. Gary Little does something similar. You look at Solihull, albeit it's easier to play with your tails up when you've already got a 2-goal cushion. But Solihull, they're getting over tactical instruction. They're working. They're implementing their ideas. Pools, that's really lacking.
As the heavens open here in the West Midlands, let's head back up to the northeast. A big County Durham derby this afternoon at the Brewery Field in National League North. Spennymoor Town hosting Darlington. Ray Simpson's there for us.
And there's 34 minutes gone, and it's now Spennymoor 0, Darlington 1. Quakers slowly getting more chances in this game. Jack Maskell deflected a Tom Tweedy shot onto the left-hand post. The Quakers just took the lead. Lovely ball through from Ellis Stanley with the outside of his right foot into the path of Max Howells, who's on loan from the Borough. He got through one tackle and then latched a right foot shot into the top of the net past Brad James. It's Spennymoor 0, Darlington 1.
So the Quakers with the lead there. Thank you very much, Ray, as Solihull take a throw-in up down this left-hand side. It's flicked on, but Coogan's there. Is he going to be pushed over? Yep. Just bundled to the ground there by Wakeling. By the touchline on this near side, will go all the way back to Nick Hayes in the Pools goal. Worked out through the defence. As I mentioned just before we went to Ray, the heavens have opened here. The uncovered stand on the far side is quickly emptying of Poolies and Solihull fans. Well, about 40 to 50 that were in that uncovered stand anyway. As Hartlepool work it down the left-hand side. Goes out off a Solihull man for a Pools throw 10 yards inside the Solihull half, taken by Cam John to the feet of Campbell, who gets it infield to Sinclair up by the edge of the penalty area. Driving forward as Tyree Sinclair hits the deck, but he'll find Reid. Reid looks to whip it into the middle. Goes out off a Solihull man. Will that be a corner or a throw? I think it's just gone out for a throw on the far side, right up by the corner flag, but that was better from Pools. Neat interchange, and Tyree Sinclair causing more problems.
Yeah, again, he does really well, Sinclair. In the end, just ran out of road, and again, that comes from the fact that Pools need to make more options.
And Sinclair did well again there from the throw. Got a shot where it was blocked on the edge of the area. Pools back in possession on 30 yards, and the ball in field from Jay Ben. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to do. I think he was just trying to direct it towards the edge of the box. Headed clear, and Solihull could then complete the clearance up into the Hartlepool United half. Coogan gets it back off Hayes, and we'll look to launch it towards Alex Reid. Reid, who's battling you do feel for Reid at times, don't you? He's battling away against men that are much bigger than him, and he does cut an isolated figure at times. And again there, long ball to him with no one around him. He never really had much chance, Robbie.
And even if he wins the ball, Matty, what's he going to do with it? Because there's no one making any runs anywhere near him.
As the long ball goes towards Reid again. Again, he's beaten in the air is Alex Reid. As Rhys McNally just took a bit of a stud there from Lipswich, I think. Limped momentarily, but looks to be moving okay now. Again, does the Pools captain. Limping slightly, actually. The Pools forced backwards under the Solihull press as Hayes just rolls it back a couple of yards and will launch it high into the afternoon sky. Grey, slightly darkening skies now as Campbell beats his man to it after a flick on, and the referee has blown his whistle. I think he's going to book the Solihull man. It was Moore, the Coventry City loanee, who flew into the challenge. I think there was a foot on the ball there for me from Moore. Maybe unfortunate to get a booking, but Campbell looked favourite to come out of that one on top.
I think you're spot on, Matty. I mean, maybe you could say that's the modern game, but as far as I'm concerned, that's a perfectly good challenge because, as you say, he wins the ball.
Free kick to Hartlepool United all the same. Moore into the referee's notebook. And it's about 5 yards in front of the centre circle inside the Solihull half. Pretty much dead centre. There's Poole's men on either side, and Jamie Miley standing over the delivery with his turquoise boots. He'll just loft it in towards the area now, towards the far post, headed across goal by Coogan. Arriving there is a Poole's man, and it's in! Alex Reid heads in inside the 6-yard box. Hartlepool United have a foot back in this game. It was a well-worked set-piece routine towards the far post. Coogan headed it across goal. The other centre-half, McNally, headed it towards the far post. And Alex Reid, the Poole's top scorer, was there to turn it home inside the 6-yard box. Solihull 2, Hartlepool United 1.
Yeah, it's a really well-worked set-piece. To be fair, Matty, you have to say Hartlepool have been really disappointing in the opening 40 minutes, and you felt perhaps it needed something like that, a set-piece, and a little bit of luck, it has to be said, in the build-up, but nonetheless a really well-worked free kick, a strong header back across goal from Coogan. And Alex Reid, we've just been discussing how much of a challenging and frustrating first half he's had, but to his credit he keeps getting himself in those sort of areas and turns the ball home via a deflection, and all of a sudden a lifeline from Pools when it didn't really seem like there was going to be one.
And that is probably changed Mickey Featherstone's team talk a little bit at the break, isn't it? I could see the proverbial rocket coming out, but now maybe he'll just look to make those tweaks slightly more calmly.
I think so, Matty. I think that there's still a case that this Pool side needs some stern words at the break, because they have been pretty subpar in terms of their performance. You wonder whether he might have been planning at least one change at half-time, potentially a change in shape as well. Whether that goal will change things remains to be seen.
As we've seen a change just after that goal, Jake Clark, who was receiving treatment a couple of minutes ago. So we're going to see a third yellow card for Solihull Moors. This time I think it's is that Wakeling? Yeah, it is Wakeling who's booked. So that's 3 Solihull men in the book in this first half, and you'd have to say it hasn't really been a dirty game in any way, shape or form, but I'd say at least one of them was a booking. The other 2 maybe not for me, bit soft.
Well, you made the point earlier, Matty, didn't you, that this referee Ben Atkinson, he's got a record for giving yellow and red cards as well, so Solihull in particular at the moment will need to be careful.
Yeah, 3 players on a booking now, Herb Moors. 180 yellows and 5 reds in 22 games before today had Ben Atkinson dished out. And now Solihull have Isaac Moore, Jacob Wakeling, and the scorer of the opener here, Connor Wilkinson, all on yellow cards as the ball's out for a throw on the far side. It's a long one up towards halfway from Solihull, and Pools will win it back in the centre circle. Campbell goes back a few yards for Jay Ben, and Ben will look to hit it towards the channel. It's headed clear there by Alex Whitmore. It was more up than away though, but then the clearance is completed by Isaac Moore. It's straight to the feet of Coogan, who'll battle away with his man, and Wilkinson's been penalised there. He is going to have to watch himself, Connor Wilkinson, because he's a big fan of the physical battle, but he's walking a bit of a tightrope now after that booking in the first half.
And that's clearly a fundamental part of his game. But as you say, he's already on a yellow card. That's another free kick. The totting up process can work against you as well. And you'd imagine that Rhys McNally and Maxim Coogan, who are in that battle up against him, will be very much mindful of that.
As Sinclair will pick it up centrally, come out to this right-hand side, and Jay Ben. Ben has Holohan making a run in the channel. Finds Holohan now across goal. Oh, he flashes it right across goal. Cleared to Miley on the edge of the area. Right-footed shot, and it's in! Hartlepool United a level! Jamie Miley drives it in past Laurie Walker, and in a matter of 3 minutes, Pools have gone from 2-0 down to level at 2-all. Miley on the score sheet, Pools on level terms just before half-time.
Pretty remarkable stuff, Matty, it has to be said. It almost came out of nothing. It's a brilliant finish from Jamie Miley. We were talking about him earlier. Sometimes it can be frustrating, or it has been frustrating to watch him this season, because he's such a talented player. He's really good on the ball, and he's got that in his locker as well. We saw him score a wonder goal against Truro before Christmas. It's a fantastic strike. Gav Holohan does really well initially. He makes a really good forward run. It's an excellent cross that goes across the face of goal. In the end, Solihull don't deal with it. Jamie Miley, it's a fantastic strike, and Pools, who looked to be down and out just 5 minutes ago, are back on level terms.
What a difference 3 minutes can make. Hartlepool United have looked as flat as the proverbial all afternoon, let's be honest. But in the space of 3 minutes, they've turned this one on its head from 2-0 down to 2-all. Level pegging again. The ball now is lifted over the top towards Campbell. Ooh, nearly a bit of a mix-up there between goalkeeper and defender. Campbell will take the throw-in after the clearance from the Solihull man Whitmore. It's back from Campbell to Tyree Sinclair. Sinclair now up by the byline. Whips it in towards the middle. Cleared away by Solihull out to the goal scorer Jamie Miley. back to Sinclair in the area, going to look to whip it across the face of 6 yards, blocked by the goalkeeper, and a foul given against Alex Reid, who I think had every right to challenge for that one. I beg your pardon, it was Gavin Holohan who had every right to challenge for that one. Just went in as the ball looped up after the block from the goalkeeper. Referee didn't like the challenge, neither did the goalkeeper, and I think the goalkeeper's now going to be booked because he felt as though he was fouled and Holohan should have been booked. He's given the referee some lip, and now we have 4 bookings for Solihull Moors in this first half, Robbie.
Well, I think, Matty, you're right when you say that Gav Holohan had every right to go for that ball. It was good goalkeeping initially from Laurie Walker. He clearly wasn't happy with the challenge, but whether his reaction warranted a yellow card, I really don't think so. Yeah,
you and me both. So Pools level here as we approach half-time. About 10 seconds to go plus added time. The fourth official standing there with the board ready to raise it in a second as the free kick's taken long by Solihull into the Pools half, and Jay Ben will go all the way back to Nick Hayes. We're going to have 5 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half. It's launched up towards Alex Reid, headed clear by Solihull, but it'll be picked up in midfield by Gavin Holohan midway inside the Solihull half. Down the left-hand side from Cam John, he was looking for the run of Adam Campbell. Blocked though and out for a Pools throw. John will ask for some options as the rain continues to chuck it down here in the West Midlands. It's rained goals in the last 5 minutes or so. Pools from 2-0 down to level at 2-2 thanks to a goal from the head of Alex Reid on 40 minutes, and then from Jamie Marley, who hit a thunderous effort past Laurie Walker into the bottom corner from 20 yards just 3 minutes later. Now it's Holohan down the right hand side, tries to go past Whitmore. Whitmore does quite well, just uses experience and eases him out of it though, and Solihull will launch it upfield towards halfway. It's got John on his bike, and it's calm as you like from Cam John. Just goes infield to his captain this afternoon, Rhys McNally. He'll prod it forward a couple of yards for Hunter. Cameron John looking for an option, tried to find Holohan, and it's up towards halfway. And how's the linesman? The linesman had raised his flag there and it came off a Solihull man and then changed his mind. Solihull fans aren't happy as the ball's played across midfield. Pools remain in possessions. Infield for Tyrese Sinclair, who's been a real bright spark in this first half, as Tyrese Sinclair against his former club where he scored 3 goals earlier this season. The one shining light, you'd have to say, for Hartlepool United in this first half. Or the one shining light that isn't on the score sheet so far. As Pools work it well to Sinclair on 25 yards. He's got Whitmore for company, so he'll go out to the left, and Cam John. John up by the edge of the penalty area. Will he look to whip it in? He won't. He'll come back in field and give it to Gav Holohan. Holohan has Sinclair, who's definitely playing more central now, trying to link up play. Tyrese Sinclair goes back a few yards for Coogan. He'll stride into the Solihull half, up towards the edge of the penalty now, and Ben trying to work a couple of yards of space to whip a ball in. Does so now. Is it going to drop into the hands of the goalkeeper? It is. Looked as though for a second it might go for a Pools corner, but comfortable enough for Laurie Walker just to come out and claim unchallenged inside a 6-yard box. And now it's Solihull. It's turned into a basketball game in the last few minutes, this one. Down the right hand side, looking for Lipsuch was the number 21, the substitute Rutherford. Goes out off Cam John, who defended well. And Solihull will take the throw and go all the way up towards halfway. And now you've got every Hartlepool man within about 30 yards of their own goal. It's been a fairly sedate game, and the last 7 or 8 minutes has been frenetic, Robbie.
It's been unusual in many ways, Matty. I think Nicky Featherstone really has just made slight adjustments in terms of getting Pools to play a little bit higher, giving some of those attacking players, Tyrese Sinclair in particular, a bit more freedom, and those slight changes have made a huge difference.
Yeah, it does seem to me as you say, as if Tyrese Sinclair's just been told, look, you just drift, you just affect the game, because he's become a little bit more central at times in the last 5 or 6 minutes as Pools work it between Reid and Sinclair to win it back off Solihull, who were just passing it around on the edge of the centre circle inside the Pools half, and Pools back in possession with McNally. Gives it to the left hand side, and John under a bit of pressure tried to come in field. It's going to end up back for the waiting Nick Hayes inside his penalty area. Going to ball it out towards the right hand side, and Jay Ben going to go back in field to Max Coogan. Going to look to assess his options. Is he going to go long looking for Reid? I think he might. Hits it towards the channel. Whitmore across to just takes no chances, puts it out for a Pools throw level with the edge of the penalty area. Alex Whitmore. And will Campbell leave this one for Ben to maybe launch one into the area in the last couple of minutes of stoppage time. He doesn't. It's taken short, and Campbell just hooks it infield looking for Reid again, but it's cleared by Whitmore. And Pools now back in possession, but now all the way back up towards halfway. Coogan looks round the back for Jay Ben again. That's going to skip up off the surface and be too strong though. Out behind for a Solihull Moors goal kick. Remains Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2 on BBC Radio T Sport.
And not a great ball from Coogan, but I think another change has been that the Pool's fullbacks have played much higher. Jay Ben, I know he's had his critics this season, but the one thing you'd have to say about him is he never gives any less than 100%. He's certainly a willing forward runner, and that was a really good run. It's a shame Coogan couldn't pick him out, but the right idea nonetheless.
As the goal kick's taken long, it's flicked in field by Solihull, but Pools through McNally can get it back to Nick Hayes. Slightly worried about Rhys McNally because he does seem to be limping a little bit still. He had that knock a few minutes ago that he looked to have run off, but he's now limping a little bit more. The Pools captain, of course, was out for about 4 months earlier in the season, wasn't he? And it's arguably been the rock at the back for Pools when they have had that mean defence at times this season. As Gav Holohan's penalised for handball. And there it is, half-time here in the National League, and it is Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2. A quite bizarre game of football, to be honest with you, here at Damson Park. And Pools were behind on 8 minutes when Connor Wilkinson did some kick-ups in the box after a long throw and just hooked it in field, and it hit the arm of a Pools man who was stood about a yard away, and referee Ben Atkinson pointed to the spot. I think Wilkinson was slightly lucky there, and Pools were hard done to with that penalty decision. But up stepped Wilkinson, Connor Wilkinson, from 12 yards. He sent Nick Hayes the wrong way to give Solihull the lead. Pools had 1 or 2 half chances, but it was a really flat game, to be perfectly honest. Sinclair flashed a shot wide, and Campbell had a half chance that was comfortably saved by Laurie Walker. And then on 24 minutes, the most comical own goal I have seen in a long time. Hartlepool United, who were content to pass it round at the back despite being a goal down, so Max Coogan played infield for Gav Holohan, who 25 yards out from his own goal tried a back pass towards Nick Hayes, and it totally evaded Hayes and headed straight for the bottom corner to double Solihull's advantage. The game just looked to be drifting towards half-time, with Pools very flat both in and out of possession. But then on 40 minutes, a free kick was whipped in by Miley. It was a well-worked move off the training ground. Coogan headed it across goal. It was headed back across to the other side and the far post by Rhys McNally, the captain, where Alex Reid, the top scorer, was on hand to get Pools back in it on 40 minutes. And then just 3 minutes later, Hartlepool United were level. Some good work down the right-hand side. So Gavin Holohan flash a ball across the face of goal, across 6 yards. It was cleared to Jamie Miley 20 yards out, who drilled fiercely past Laurie Walker into the bottom corner to restore parity for Hartlepool United. So at the break here in the National League, it is Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2.
It was a remarkable first half, Matty, and at times a really tough watch from a Hartlepool United perspective. The fact is that Pools are back in the game, and after getting back into the game, they actually played pretty well. We started to see them dominate the ball, use the ball far more effectively, get danger man Tyrese Sinclair into positions where he can hurt opponents as well. Look, I think for 40 minutes of that first half, Pools were second best, and they were second best by a fair distance. They certainly didn't help themselves. Obviously really disappointing to concede the goals in the manner that they did, in particular the second one, which was pretty calamitous for all sorts of reasons. But they need to use the ball much better, particularly at the back, because they're just inviting that pressure on from a Solihull perspective. The frustrating thing is that we know that Hartlepool United have got plenty of talented players, and as they've shown in the final 5 or 10 minutes, they're more than capable of hurting this Solihull side. They've been gifted a lifeline in many ways, had a bit of an element of fortune in terms of getting back into the game because they looked dead and buried. It's really important now that they try and capitalise on that chance. Solihull have forfeited a 2-goal lead against Eastleigh fairly recently. They lost that game. Pools, I'm sure, will be mindful of that. This is a real opportunity now for Hartlepool United. It's important that they grasp it.
Well, there you have it. Thank you very much to our expert summariser this afternoon, Robbie Stelling of the Hartlepool Mail. We will be back for second half commentary very shortly from a damp and drizzly Damson Park here in the West Midlands. But for the time being, let's head over to the Riverside and our colleagues watching Middlesbrough against Oxford United in the Championship.
Gary Phillips.
Weekday mornings from 10.
30,000 people, it's estimated, will be making their way to the Riverside to watch the mighty Borough. If you're called Gary, yodel like you're on the top of Eston Nab.
Yeah.
That's a good yodel, that, Gus. Can I just say, you win the best name of the day competition?
I've been called Western Gary before.
So have I, my friend. So have I. So are you a Gary with 2 R's or just 1 R?
I have 2 on my birth certificate, but I only use 1.
That's right. Gary there, I think he's happy, isn't he? Up the Borough.
Gary Phillipson.
Weekday mornings from 10.
BBC Radio Tees. Gary Phillipson.
Weekday mornings from 10.
Wherever you're listening to us, if you've got something on your mind, anything you want to share with us, somebody who's doing something fantastic, bring it to us.
My life maybe isn't normal, but it's my normal now, and it's as back to where I can be as possible.
We've got a fantastic team. That's what it's down to.
It's given me a new appreciation of what a great thing it is to be alive.
I've got big footsteps to fill, but I'm creating my own path. But it's great to have my dad's background with me.
Gary Phillipson.
Weekday mornings from 10.
BBC Radio Tees.
Proud to follow the Borough.
BBC Radio Tees Sports.
Half-time here at the Riverside then, and it is goalless, the Borough against Oxford. Elsewhere in the Championship, full times from earlier: Hull 1, QPR 3, Stoke 2, Leicester 2, Swansea 1, Bristol City 0, and West Brom 0, Coventry 2. Other half-times: Millwall 0, Portsmouth 0, Norwich 0, Birmingham 2, Southampton 0, Charlton 0, Watford 1, Derby 0, and Wrexham 2, Ipswich 2. In the Premier League at half-time, it's Aston Villa 0, Leeds 1, Brentford 0, Brighton 2, and Chelsea 1, Burnley 0. 5:30, it's West Ham, Bournemouth, and at 8 o'clock, Man City against Newcastle. In League 1 full times: Plymouth 5, Cardiff 2, Rotherham 1, Doncaster 2, and Wycombe 3, Stevenage 1. Half times: Bolton 0, Blackpool 0, Huddersfield 0, Barnsley 1, Luton 1, Burton 0, Mansfield 0, Lincoln 1, Northampton 0, Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough 1, Exeter 0, Port Vale 0, Reading 1, Stockport 2, Wigan 2, and Wimbledon 1, Bradford 0. League 2 full times: Fleetwood 3, Barrow 2, and Swindon 1, Crewe 2. Half times: Accrington Stanley 0, Shrewsbury 1, Bristol Rovers 2, Grimsby 1, Cheltenham 0, Salford 1, Colchester 1, Barnet 1, Crawley 0, Chesterfield 1, Gillingham 0, Oldham 2, Harrogate 0, Bromley 0, Newport 0, Cambridge 0, Notts County 1, Tranmere 0. In the National League, it is half-time: Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2. All the details on that to come shortly. Other half-times: Aldershot 3, Scunthorpe 0, Altrincham 1, Braintree 0, Borehamwood 0, Forest Green 0, Boston 0, Tamworth 0, Brackley 0, Southend 0, Carlisle 3, Yeovil 0, Morecambe 1, Eastleigh 0, Rochdale 2, Woking 0, Sutton 0, Wealdstone 0, and York 3, Halifax 0. Truro against Gateshead is at 5:30, and in National League North at half-time, it is Spennymoor Town 0, Darlington 1.
BBC Radio Tees Sports.
Right, let's get the details on that game at Damson Park on BBC Radio T Sport DAB and BBC Sounds. It is Solihull against Pools. Here's Matty Nixon.
It's half-time here in the National League, and it is Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2. A quite bizarre game of football, to be honest with you, here at Damson Park. And Pools were behind on 8 minutes when Connor Wilkinson did some kick-ups in the box after a long throw and just hooked it in field, and it hit the arm of a Pools man who was stood about a yard away, and referee Ben Atkinson pointed to the spot. I think Wilkinson was slightly lucky there, and Pools were hard done to with that penalty decision. But up stepped Wilkinson, Connor Wilkinson, from 12 yards. He sent Nick Hayes the wrong way to give Solihull the lead. Pools had one or two half chances, but it was a really flat game, to be perfectly honest. Sinclair flashed a shot wide, and Campbell had a half chance that was comfortably saved by Laurie Walker. And then on 24 minutes, the most comical own goal I have seen in a long time. Hartlepool United, who were content to pass it round at the back despite being a goal down, so Max Coogan played infield for Gav Holohan, who 25 yards out from his own goal tried a back pass towards Nick Hayes, and it totally evaded Hayes and headed straight for the bottom corner to double Solihull's advantage. The game just looked to be drifting towards half-time, with Pools very flat, both in and out of possession. But then on 40 minutes, a free kick was whipped in by Miley. It was a well-worked move off the training ground. Coogan headed it across goal. It was headed back across to the other side and the far post by Rhys McNally, the captain, where Alex Reid, the top scorer, was on hand to get Pools back in it on 40 minutes. And then just 3 minutes later, Hartlepool United were level. Some good work down the right-hand side. So Gavin Holohan flash a ball across the face of goal. Across 6 yards. It was cleared to Jamie Miley 20 yards out, who drilled fiercely past Laurie Walker into the bottom corner to restore parity for Hartlepool United. So at the break here in the National League, it is Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2.
Second half commentary from Matty and Robbie Stelling of the Hartlepool Mail will be on BBC Radio T Sport, DAB and BBC Sound. Second half commentary to come here on 95 FM and Freeview 714 at the Riverside on Borough 0, Oxford 0. Your thoughts continuing to come in, Mark. Panning out as expected, just need to pick a way through. First goal as ever is massive. We need to move it quicker around their box to create a bit more space for runners coming through. We're lucky we're not losing it, if I'm honest. We must do better in the second half. That was poor. By the way, just back to the National League, and incredibly, I didn't realise this, that Truro Gateshead game, the 5:30 kickoff, that's a 900 and odd mile round trip for Gateshead fans down to Cornwall, and they've moved it to 5:30. Absolutely incredible, and I hadn't realised that until I read it out there just now. In the Six Nations Rugby Union, England 14, Ireland 42 at Twickenham. They've played about 70 odd minutes there. England's nightmare Six Nations continues, you would imagine. Oxford are back out on the field here. Remember, we are giving away tickets. We give away tickets to every Borough home game on BBC Radio T's Breakfast and with Gary Phillipson, weekdays from 10, Fridays for Saturday matches, and on the day for midweek matches. I'm in for Amy all next week on BBC Radio T's Breakfast, and I'll have tickets to give away for Borough against Leicester on Tuesday morning, and Gary will have more to give away after 10 on Tuesday. We've got the second half here to sort out before any of that, as Borough emerge from the tunnel with work to do. And we're back with Neil and Mark.
Thank you, Paul. Oxford were a bit unhappy there because they were out on the pitch and the referee, Oliver Langford, was out on the pitch and the Borough weren't. And it's probably worth mentioning, Neil Maddison, that on the Oxford staff is a certain Craig Short. I remember Craig Hignett telling us that he used to be teammates with him at Blackburn, and he went, you always knew when there was trouble because the eyes in his head would just sort of roll back like a great white about to attack. You wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of Craig Short, would you? Big lad indeed. Can Borough get on the wrong side of Oxford though in this second half? That's what we are going to find out as Borough take the kick off and get us back underway. They're attacking left to right after the break. Hayden Hackney picking his way through midfield, gets it back, and he might open up to the left for Sarmiento on the move into the box, right-footed, low shots, and it's well gathered at the near post by Jamie Cumming. No changes from either team at the break. Borough with Bryn in goal, Target, Malander, Fry and Britton at the back, Morris and Hackney the central midfielders, Sarmiento and Whittaker supporting Conway and Strelets up front. For Oxford, it's Jamie Cumming in goal, Sam Long, Christ McCorso, Kieran Brown and Jack Curry the back four, Jimmy McDonnell and Cameron Brannigan ahead of them, Stan Mills, Miles Pert-Harris and John Ginu behind Will Lancashire up front. There's a clash of knees there, I think, between Stan Mills and Matt Target, and Target looks to have got the worst of it, Neil.
That's a nasty one, isn't it, in terms of your knee? I wouldn't say it looks like he's
Mills he's run past him and Mills just dangled a leg out, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think it's he's saying it's his knee, but I didn't see much there in terms of knee.
Yeah, the heavy rain that we had at the end of the first half and all throughout half time is now abated. Bit of moisture still in the air, but it's eased right off as Target Sends it long forward quickly. Whittaker goes down on the edge of the area. He isn't going to get a free kick or a penalty for that. Fry, good strong header, knocks over Pert Harris in the process, but the second ball was won by Oxford, and they are springing players forward on the break. Mills is one of them, gets it now to the right of the D, hits it left-footed, pace taken out of it by the block, and Bryn will pick it up and ball it out quickly to his left. Borough all in red with the white chest band, Oxford in what we regard as turquoise, but their sponsors call Spire Green. Here's a free kick. Hayden Hackney driving forward is caught just short of the halfway line.
One of my friends texted me, he said peppermint.
Peppermint, yeah, or spearmint, yeah. Yeah, one of your friends I would agree with. His target for the Borough. Kim Hellberg stood on the edge of his technical area watching Sarmiento pass it to Conway, left side of the area. Didn't take the shot and he didn't cross either. Yeah. And there are so many players back behind the ball as a result.
And I actually think
Fry might go for goal here. He does. And that shot loops up and is caught by Cumming on his goal line.
I actually think when you're in them positions against teams like this, you have to gamble. You have to go and...
Oh, miscommunication there.
You take the safety route, don't you, there, by keeping the ball.
Cumming balled it out to Jack Curry on this left-hand side, and Curry missed it, and that's got the Borough fans up and at it. Target diagonal. Oh, Britton didn't get to the first one. He might to the second. The clearing header wins it back, and now here's Fry receiving the pass just inside the Oxford half. Fry, captain's armband on his left arm. Hackney, who usually wears it, driving forward. Morris caught, having played a pass.
Scott Makin on BBC Radio Tees.
So on the show recently, I was joined by one of our very own, Amelia Coburn. The singer is joining one of her heroes on stage. It's only Paul Weller.
I've idolised Paul since I was younger.
Yeah.
In my childhood bedroom, I had posters from the NME and Uncut from years ago pinned up. So obviously, when you're just chatting to him, I've got him in my contacts now. I WhatsApp him. That's surreal. You can't act like he's some god, even though he is a demigod. You know, you have to just, because he's normal to me. He's very down to earth. You have to just be very personal, and because that's how he is with me, and he's really lovely.
Scott Makin.
Weekday afternoons from 2
on BBC Radio Tees.
Yes, afternoon, welcome back to Damson Park, where both sides are just out on the pitch, and we're just about to get underway for the second half. In fact, the referee's got the game underway before the linesman could get across to his line on the far side, so he's had to bring it back, and we're going to have to take that kick-off again, Solihull Mirrors. Yeah, the referee who's made one or two interesting decision, shall we say, so far, and this one is getting a chorus of "you don't know what you're doing" from the home fans.
I don't think he's won himself many friends probably from either side, to be honest, Matty. I think, as we said in the first half, I think you can over-referee the game, and he's probably done that in the first half.
There's a long ball forward from Solihull Moors. Is flicked out off a Pool's head for a Solihull throw about 30 yards out. I'll take you through the teams in a sec. But Solihull on the attack with Wakeling on that left-hand side. He tried to give it further down the left for Cameron Green. Goes out off a Pool's man, though, and it'll be another throw in an identical position to the last one. It's around about 5 yards off the edge of the Hartlepool United box. It's taken short there to Moore, then back to Green. Infield there for Warman. Warman gives it to Green on the left-hand touchline. Pools with some defending to do early in the second half, because Green gets to the byline, whips it back towards the edge of the area, where it's played square across the face of goal to Wilkinson. Tries a left-footed shot, blocked, and that'll just be left by Cam John for Nick Hayes to come out and claim. No changes from either side at the start of this second half as Hayes launches it long into the Solihull half. Oh, it might fall for Reedy on the edge of the area. He has Sinclair up for company if he can find him, but well recovered there by the Solihull defender, and Moors will clear up towards halfway. So for Hartlepool United in this one today, you've got Nick Hayes in goal, a back four of Jay Ben, Max Coogan, Reece McNally and Cam John. There's Jack Hunter and Jamie Miley, who got Pools' equaliser in the first half in the holding role, and then you've got Adam Campbell, Gav Holohan and Tyree Sinclair in support of Alex Reid, who pulled one back for Pools. Solihull Moors have Laurie Walker in goal, a back four of change in the first half of Oscar Rutherford on the right. There's Tyler French, Alex Whitmore, the captain, Cam Green across the defence, and then Scott High and Isaac Muir, the two holding midfielders, with Darius Lupsic, Ben Warman and Jacob Waitland in support of Connor Wilkinson up top as Pools work it down the right hand side to Tyrese Sinclair. He's looking to put it through the legs of his man. He does. He gets towards the byline, whips it in towards the middle now. Bit of confusion in the 6-yard box and it's cleared away. I think a Pools man went in and challenged for it just as goalkeeper Laurie Walker was approaching the ball. He's took a bit of a whack there as Walker, and as the ball was cleared away, the referees just halted play for Walker to receive a bit of treatment from the Solihull physios. But excellent play again by Tyrese Sinclair, who I think I have to say, Robbie, has been by far the brightest spark for Hartlepool United this afternoon.
Yeah, and it was brave goalkeeping, similar to in the first half. Matty, I think the Pools player had every right to go for it. Sinclair, I think you're absolutely right, has been really impressive. He's been really threatening for Pools. What I like about him, similar sort of to someone like Luke Charman, is he's quite fearless in how he plays. He's always prepared to take on his opposition fullback, and that must be a nightmare to defend against.
There's a slight worry here for Hartlepool United, because we mentioned that Rhys McNally took a knock in the first half. He's got the captain's armband on this afternoon. He's obviously tried to come out at the start of the second half and run off whatever the problem was. He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to be replaced like for like by Nicky Featherstone, with Tom Parks coming on to take the captain's armband off him. So disappointment for both Rhys McNally, who's had injury frustrations this season, and Hartlepool United.
Yeah, I think that it's certainly a blow for Pools in the sense that Rhys McNally has been really impressive pretty much whenever Hartlepool United fans have had the chance to see him. The problem is that he already spent almost 4 months on the sidelines. That was a big blow. The one positive from a Hartlepool United perspective is that in someone like Tom Parks, you do have a more than capable replacement, obviously vastly experienced, different sort of defender to McNally, but a very good one nonetheless.
As Coogan takes the drop ball and Pools win it on the edge of the area through Campbell in the box towards Reid, just beaten to it there by the Solihull defender French, and Solihull can clear it. Looked as though there might have been an opening there for Hartlepool United. It's prodded forward there by Tom Parks, but Solihull can clear up towards halfway in Wakeling under a bit of pressure from Jack Hunter. The press looks a little bit more coordinated in these opening exchanges of the second half from Hartlepool United, Robbie. They seem to be hunting in packs as opposed to individuals.
I think that's exactly it. It wasn't necessarily a case of making fundamental changes, and in some senses that's frustrating. You have to ask the question, why were Pools so poor in the opening 40 minutes of that first half? But certainly they've started the second period with far more purpose, both with and without the ball.
As it's flicked on well there by Reid after a long clearance forward from Hayes. It's then out towards his left hand side, and Tyrese Sinclair cuts in field, tries a right footed shot from 25 yards, and it was just curving away from the far post. Laurie Walker dived. I think that's what you'd probably call one for the cameras, and it ended up around about 5 yards wide of his far post.
He's full of confidence, Tyrese Sinclair. You can see every time he gets the ball he's trying to make something happen, and you can also see that Pools are trying to get him involved at every available opportunity. Importantly as well, Cameron John is being given the freedom to make those overlapping runs, which he does there, allowing Sinclair therefore to drive inside and take the ball onto his favoured right foot, and he continues to be the main threat for the visitors.
As Pools clear after the long ball forward from the goal kick, and it's back with the Solihull Moors defenders. Didn't quite get a chance to bring it up to date with many scores in the first half. As that ball goes out of play, the long ball from Solihull Moors will be a throw to Pools 10 yards inside their own half. On the left hand side, Cam John to take. So the latest in the National League at the moment: Aldershot 3, Scunthorpe 1, Altrincham 2, Braintree 0, Bournemouth 1, Forest Green 0. Forest Green have had a massive fall from grace in recent weeks, haven't they? Boston United 0, Tamworth 0, Brackley 0, Southend 0. We'll pick those up in a second because Tyrese Sinclair's coming down the left hand side. Cuts in field, gives it to Miley, then to Campbell. Campbell will give it to Holohan, then across to the right hand side, and Ben looks to whip it in towards the box. No Pools man there to challenge. Solihull head it up rather than away. It's on the edge of the area now. It might fall to a Pools man in Miley. It does, under pressure. Finds the feet of Cameron John. John 25 yards out, goes central looking for Campbell. It's too far ahead of him though. Campbell just couldn't readjust his body and get to that, and it's cleared long, and Parks will return it into the Solihull half, and Miley battles away and wins it ahead of a Solihull man again. Pools definitely with more intent at the start of this second half. 6 minutes gone, remains Solihull 2, Hartlepool United 2 in the National League, but Pools certainly looked reinvigorated at the start of the second period as the long ball forward rather strangely hits the back of Tyler French, and then Solihull clear, brought down by Coogan, who will get it out towards this left-hand side, and Tyrese Sinclair under a bit of pressure there, and he is thrown to the deck there by Oscar Rutherford, who was a first half substitute. Tyrese Sinclair maybe made it look worse than it actually was, but he was certainly caught slightly late by Oscar Rutherford.
And again, you can see that he is brimming with confidence, and also that Solihull are increasingly wary of the threat that he poses. He has been really, really impressive.
It's Miley going to take this free kick. It's 5 yards inside the Solihull half, about 5 yards in from the left-hand side touchline. Miley in that orange kit and turquoise boots lifts it up towards the edge of the area. It's strongly won in the air though by Alex Whitmore, the Solihull captain, but he can only return it straight to the feet of Jamie Miley, who gives it to Sinclair down the left hand side. Sinclair has two men on him though and goes back in field to Miley. Pools forced to work it back up towards halfway, where Hunter will play a square ball to Jay Ben. Ben has Campbell for support on the right hand side. Campbell will pick it up now about 30 yards up on the touchline. Gives it down the line to Holohan, whips it across the box. It was just beyond everyone though, so Sinclair will pick it up on the other side. 5 yards up from the byline, goes back to John, who'll whip it in towards the far post. Up goes Reid, beaten to it by Whitmore. Headed to around about 30 yards out, where it's picked up by Ben, who'll go back a few yards from Miley. Now back to Cam John. John will look to play a 1-2 as Tyrese Sinclair does, and then whips it in towards the far post, over the head of everyone, palmed away by the goalkeeper. Will be picked up by Holohan, looks to cut it back, looking for a Pools shirt, but it's cut out there by Isaac Moore inside his own box, and Solihull will eventually clear up towards halfway. Much more intensity in the first 8 minutes from Hartlepool United, both in and out of possession though, Robbie.
Yeah, without a doubt, and all of a sudden you're thinking that Connor Wilkinson, who leads the line for Solihull, is the man who's looking isolated. Pools pressing and looking threatening as well, importantly.
There's a long ball forwards, headed clear by Moores, but it'll be picked up by Gavin Holohan. Pools first to every second ball at the minute. Goes infield to Sinclair, 25 yards out, but he's got 2 or 3 Solihull men around him. Plays a lovely ball out towards the right hand corner of the 18-yard box, where Jay Ben picks it up. Goes back a few yards, Hunter will whip it in towards the area, headed clear by French. Ben might pick it up again, flicks it lovely inside to Campbell towards the far post. Oh, there's two men arriving, they kind of get in each other's way, and it goes out off the head of, I think it was Tyrese Sinclair who got the final touch behind for a goal kick. Holohan and Sinclair were both queuing up for it. There was one Solihull man in close attendance, but neither could just get over that one and head it towards goal.
I think you're right. I think Sinclair and Holohan do put each other off to an extent. Probably the Solihull defender at the back post just about does enough as well. It was a really good delivery from Pools, and they really are carrying a threat. Sometimes it's about doing the simple things, getting your best players in positions where they can hurt opponents as often as possible. We didn't see Pools do that nearly enough in the first half. We're seeing them do that far more frequently here now.
As the throw after a clearance was skewed out by Solihull, Moores is taken by John. It's headed clear by Solihull again and then returned. A bit of head tennis going on at the moment, or long balls returned into both a halfway kind of area and towards the edge of the Solihull box. It's picked up well by Holohan. Will head across to the brewery field shortly, but Pools on the attack with Tyrese Sinclair. Infield for Jack Hunter. Hunter looks to drive towards the Solihull backline. Moore's very deep at the minute as Tyrese Sinclair tries to get in towards the box. It'll be picked up there by Reid, forced back a couple of yards to Holohan. Holohan will go square to Miley. Pools camped within 30 yards of the Solihull Moors goal at present. It remains 2-2. Infield for Tyrese Sinclair from Cam John. Sinclair whips it towards the far post where Jay Ben looked to attack it, headed clear. We will head across to the brewery field when there's a kind of break in this Pools pressure, but Hartlepool United continue their attack. Hunter, midway inside the Solihull half. It's played across to the left-hand side where Cameron John's in acres of space. But Tyrese Sinclair for company. He'll come infield instead. John, he'll lose out to a challenge, but it'll break fortuitously for Reid out towards the left-hand side, and Tyrese Sinclair whips it in right foot towards the far post, over the head of everyone, out and behind for a goal kick. So let's head across to the brewery field. Big derby this afternoon in National League North, and it is Spennymoor Town against Darlington Race. Simpson's watching.
58 minutes gone. It's now Spenny O'Neill, Darlington 2. Quakers on top at the moment. They went close at the start of the second half. The corner that James held onto his line. But Darlington won a corner on 52 minutes. It was floated in by Will McGowan, and the referee ruled that Toby Lees, as he was running for it, was all down from behind. It's one of these you see all the time in the Premiership. Referee pointing to the spot, and Cedric Main scored from the spot. His 12th of the season. It's now 0-0, Darlington 2.
Thank you very much, Ray. Good afternoon for the Quakers at the Brewery Field so far here in the National League. It's Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2. Solihull just enjoying their first real sustained spell of pressure 11 minutes into this second half. There's a long ball forward. Possession, I meant to say, not pressure. The long ball forward is headed clear by Jay Bennett. It's picked up, and Moors will then come backwards up towards halfway. It's all the way back to Whitmore, the Solihull Moors captain, on halfway. Much of the frustration of one particularly loud Solihull fan around us, who wants them to go a bit more direct, but Solihull won't listen to that fan and will play it all the way across the back four via the keeper, Laurie Walker. Down the right hand side from French, he picks out Rutherford with chalk on his boots midway inside the Pools half on the right hand touchline. He plays a 1-2 there with Warman. He has it back now, does Oscar Rutherford. Infield there for the Solihull number 15, Scott High. High back out to Rutherford, going to look to run it. Tyree Sinclair gets up towards the byline now, then cuts back on himself, and then back a few yards for High. High whips it in towards a far post. It's over the head of everyone, and that, much like the delivery from Tyree Sinclair a couple of moments ago, will drift harmlessly out and behind for a goal kick. As we're going to see the second substitution of the afternoon for Solihull Moors, and it's one of those plays on a booking. Isaac Moore, the Coventry City loanee, on his debut here. He's going to be replaced by Ollie Tipton. Like for like, you'd suspect, in the midfield for Solihull Moors. And it is a goal kick to Hartlepool United, but I think Nicky Featherstone will be much, much more impressed with the second half display so far, Robbie.
In terms of everything they've done, Matty, they've certainly been better in possession, but they've also defended far better as well. We just saw Solihull attack, but Pools were quicker too. Everything, their shape was much better. They were defending as a team, and they were quick to try and close down, all things that were really lacking in the first half. And you have to say credit to Nicky Featherstone and Gary Little, because they made changes, tactical adjustments just before half-time, and they clearly made some at the break as well, and at the moment they're paying dividends.
And Featherstone, who's barely moved throughout the entirety of this game, directing traffic from his technical areas. A long ball over the top. Is it going to find Reid? He wasn't offside according to the official on the far side. Reid goes back a few yards for Holland. I wondered whether Reid had been in there, but it just didn't skip up off the surface as it has at times following the rain here. Looks as though that rain's eased somewhat for the moment here in the West Midlands as Pools play it down the right hand side. It flicks off the head of a Solihull man though, and then Moors can clear. Another plane takes off from Birmingham Airport over the stand opposite us. As across comes Warman, gets a foot in, denies Cam John the space to play a ball down the line to Sinclair. Be a throw into Hartlepool United, bang on halfway.
You wonder at what stage Nicky Featherstone will think about turning to his bench. I know he's already made one enforced change in terms of Tom Parks replacing Rhys McNally at the beginning of the second half, but he does have plenty of good options, certainly in an attacking sense, on his bench.
As now Solihull will look to catch Pools out. It was a poor touch from the throw, and Wilkinson will try a shot from 30 yards, blocked there off the backside of Max Coogan. And Solihull in possession will head across to Brewfield again very shortly for an update on Spennymoor Town versus Darlington in National League North. The Quakers leading 2-0 at our last check with Ray, but it's a long ball forward for Solihull Moors, brought down on the edge of the area. Warman has the ball taken off his toes by Marley, and Pools may counter here out towards the left hand side, and Sinclair from Reid. Tyree Sinclair has a man for company in Rutherford, looks to play a long ball out towards the right hand side, comfortable enough for Solihull to bring down. Let's head across to the Brewery Field then. Darlington have made the trip to Spennymoor Town. In fact, we won't. The offside flag goes up as the long ball was played through for Solihull Moors, and Pools will be happy to see that Lipsitch was in an offside position because he dispatched it beyond Nick Hayes, and Solihull would have gone in front. It was a quick counter attack, but the referees, I think, has he brought it back for a free kick? He has brought it back for a free kick to Solihull in the centre circle. But let's head across to the Brewery Field where Darlington have made the trip to Spennymoor Town in National League North. Ray.
60 53 minutes gone. It's now Spennymoor 0, Darlington 3, and Quakers all over. Spennymoor at the moment having just scored from the penalty spot his 12th goal of the season. Cedric Main has scored his 13th. Lovely cross from the right-hand side by Will McGowan on his return to the side today after injury. Lovely cross in, and all Main had to do was glance the ball past the stranded Brad James. It's Spennymoor 0, Darlington 3.
So 3-0 now to the Quakes. An excellent day in the County Durham derby for them in National League North. Remains 2-2 here in the National League between Solihull Moors and Hartlepool United. You listen to BBC Radio T Sport, DAB Digital Radio, BBC Sounds, and online via the BBC Football website. As Solihull come down the left-hand side, it's a lovely ball to find Wakeling. Looks in towards the middle and Lipsitch. Good covering defending though from Tom Parks to deny the forward, but it's been cleared straight to Lipsitch, and Wilkinson will leave it for Green. Solihull Moors on the attack now. It's forward towards the left-hand side, and Cameron Green. Infield for Scott High looks to get it back towards the left-hand side, and Green. Good ball inside for the substitute Tipton, but too many Pools bodies around him. He's forced backwards. Now it's back with Wakeling on the left-hand side. Solihull just playing it around towards the edge of the penalty area. There's a ball down the left-hand side, and might be an opportunity for a cross in towards the middle, headed clear at the front post by Max Coogan, and Pools will complete the clearance. In fact, it's been completely miscued by, I think it was Jay Ben on the edge of his area, out for a Solihull throw. Midway inside the Pools half, Solihull forced backwards under that Pools press again. But they keep hold of possession to the horse. Forward comes Tyler French. He's around about 30 yards out. Goes square to Lipsitch. Lipsitch is going to try a right-footed shot. Hits the side netting directly behind for a goal kick to Hartlepool United. I think we're about to see Featherstone and Liddell shuffle the pack a little bit.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, Matty, because although Pools have defended relatively well, and other than that effort just now, Solihull haven't really created anything in the way of opportunities. You do nonetheless feel as though the home side have grown into the game a bit in the last 10 minutes, starting to control the ball as they were doing in the opening period, and so perhaps time now for a change for Pools.
Yeah, after that quick start from Pools, it has eased off a little bit, as Robbie says, and I think we're going to see a double change. Charlie Caton and Luke Charman both stripped off in front of us as Pools in possession with Reid. He cuts a bit of an isolated figure about 30 yards out and is forced backwards. Pools go all the way back to halfway and will play it across the defence to this left-hand side, and Cam John under a bit of pressure from Warman will just give it to the toes of Sinclair and receive it back, and he'll look to drive infield. Gives it back to Sinclair midway inside the Solihull half, out towards the right-hand side, and Campbell towards the edge of the area. Can he get a shot away? Left-footed shot blocked in the area. Pools fans behind that goal are screaming for a handball. Referee says nothing doing, and it was cleared up towards halfway, and Pools will come again through Coogan. Campbell tried a left-footed shot, and it hit a body, a Solihull body. It was hard to see whether it was an arm from where we're sat though, Robbie.
No complaints, Matty. I think from where we are, I felt that the referee got that one right.
As it's played down the left-hand side by Pools, John was looking for Sinclair, but it was just overhit. And then it's completely miscued from the goalkeeper. It's kept in play, in fact. He just headed it, he hit it up in the air, and Pools nearly played the ball central to Reid, but just too much on it, the pass from Sinclair, and Solihull can come forward down the left-hand side now on the counter. Here is Wakeling driving towards the edge of the area, squares it across the 18-yard box, cleared away by Hartlepool United though, but forward will come Solihull again. Jacob Wakeling will look to run at Jay Ben on that far side. Ben holds his ground well though and can clear down the right-hand side. In fact, it has gone out of play. It will be a Solihull throw around about 10 yards up from the corner flag on the far side, and potentially chance for Hartlepool United to make these substitutes. In fact, no, it's taken quickly. In quickly there was Ben to win it back for Hartlepool United. Campbell goes infield to Jack Hunter. It does look as though Pools are just tiring a little bit. They've lost the kind of intensity and energy that they had in the opening 10 minutes of this second half, Robbie.
And in terms of Luke Charman and Charlie Caton, who are standing ready to come on, those are two players who you think can inject a bit more energy and impetus, which it has been lacking in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, Pools, I wonder if there's a bit of rust beginning to appear after that 10 days without a game. And it does look like quite a heavy pitch now in front of us after the deluge of rain a little earlier, as Tyree Sinclair knocks it past Warman, running towards the ball, and Warman does well to stick with his man though, gets a foot in, throwing to Hartlepool United 10 yards up from the corner flag inside the Solihull half on this near side, and we are now going to see those substitutions. Gavin Holohan is going to be replaced by Luke Charman and Alex Reid for Charlie Caton, like for like you'd suspect in terms of those two changes, both in the attacking sense up front and in that line behind the striker, Robbie.
Yeah, I'm slightly surprised in a way to see Alex Reid come off. I understand that it's unlike for like change. Reid perhaps had tired, he'd been in a physical battle all afternoon, but I think you could have made a case for playing them both together, even if you weren't going to go two up front. I think you could have played Caton in behind, Alex Reid maybe in place of someone like Adam Campbell, but nonetheless Caton made a big impact against York on his debut, scored plenty of goals at Chester as well, and is a player I think Nicky Featherstone and Pools fans are excited about.
It's from this throw-in, Tyree Sinclair whips it in towards the area, then tries a half volley after the clearance landed back at his feet. It was tamed though and comfortably taken by Laurie Walker inside the 6-yard box. So we've got some rowdy young kids who were waving at us from the side of the pitch before kick-off, and they're now, I think they're making their own entertainment with the game not providing much goal-mouth action at present.
I think they've lost a bit of interest, haven't they, Matty, as you can probably hear.
There's now Solihull on the attack. They have a little bit more interest for the foreseeable as Lipsitch gets it out towards his right-hand side. Oscar Rutherford is straight into an offside position though, and that is pretty poor from Solihull Moors as they came down the right. Offside from Rutherford, and it is a free kick to Solihull Moors.
It's so poor, Matty, because they're in a really promising position, and as Rutherford makes that forward run, he can look right across the line, so there's no excuse really for him being offside there.
Chris Millington, the Moors manager, felt that Lipsitch should have had a free kick because there was a bit of tugging of his shirt, but the referee played the advantage, and then the offside position was where Rutherford found himself in. The long free kick is taken. Pools now midway inside the Solihull half. It's out on the right hand side there with Charman, tries a little ball round the corner for Campbell, but it's deflected and Solihull can clear. It's back with Jack Hunter on halfway. Jamie Miley can pick it up in the centre circle, goes out this left hand side, and Cam John finds the feet of Sinclair, picked up a little pocket of space and then presses it out towards his left hand side, and John goes in towards the middle now, into the area, looks to square it across 6 yards, just won't fall for a Pools man. Sinclair will try a shot, deflects out of a Solihull man and behind for a Hartlepool United corner, but good play down this left hand side again. This time Cam John did everything he could, put it across the face of 6 yards without a great deal of power, but just no Pools man could get a clean contact.
It was a really fluid and free flowing move from Pools. I think they'll be disappointed they didn't make more of it, but Cam John and Jamie Miley, who are both involved, have been excellent in the second half.
They certainly have. Miley it is that's gone across to this left hand side to take the corner, being in swinging right footer, plenty of men forward for Hartlepool United. Whipped in now, it's a one off the training ground actually, finds Campbell on the edge of the area, takes a touch, he's going to look to hit it, good block from the Solihull man, who threw himself in front of the ball. Pools now have it on halfway. It'll be whipped in towards the area by Jay Ben, headed clear by Tyler French, and it'll be picked up by Conor Wilkinson, who can just play a simple ball to Lipsitch, who tries to play it over the top for Wilkinson. He's asking far too much of his forward there though, and Jamie Miley can just pick it up near the edge of his own penalty area, and Pools will look to build again.
Looks spent to me, Wilkinson, and I think Solihull, similar to Pools, will feel as though they're maybe going to turn to their bench, look to inject some energy. At the moment, you'd probably say neither side is really doing enough to force the issue. It feels like, with 20 minutes to go, the likeliest result here is a draw. That said, both managers, I think, will be desperate for 3 points.
Yeah, I think both Nicky Featherstone and Rhys McNally before this one, as we were saying a little earlier, were saying that it's kind of getting to must-win territory if you've got any outside ambitions of those playoffs. As Solihull win it inside the Pools half, some sloppy passing there from Hartlepool United. As Warman has it on 30 yards, he has Tyree Sinclair for company, but finds the feet of Conor Wilkinson, then out towards the left-hand side, and Wakeling has two men around him now, forced backwards. Cam Green under pressure from Luke Charman, but Solihull work it well, back out to Wakeling. But Pools not allowing the hosts much time on the ball, and they've worked it all the way back towards halfway. It's back towards the feet of Wakeling, then in quickly with Campbell to clear it down the right hand side, but picked up by Solihull again on halfway. 71 minutes on the clock. You listen to BBC Radio T Sport. It remains Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2. All the goals coming in the first half here. Pools found themselves 2-0 down, but then equalised with 2 goals in 3 minutes. Second game in a row, incidentally, that Solihull have been 2-0 up. Or second game in a row here at Damson Park, where Solihull have been 2-0 up and conceded 2 goals in 4 minutes. They did the same against Eastleigh and went on to lose that one 3-2. Can Pools find a winner here? It's Campbell, has it up towards the edge of the area, or clips it up towards the edge of the area, and Sinclair hits the deck. Sinclair on the floor there. Felt he was fouled, nothing doing. It would have been a soft one if it was given, to be honest. Just out-muscled there was Tyrese Sinclair. And Solihull back in possession inside their own half.
And the question from a Pools point of view, Matty, is how much is Nicky Featherstone prepared to risk in order to try and win this game? Halifax well behind at York, Southend drawing with Brackley. You might be able to make the case that it's a decent result, especially coming from 2 goals down. But of course, as you've already alluded to, Featherstone said before the game this was a must-win game. So is he going to try and risk something in terms of his tactics and personnel in order to try and get all 3 points?
Yeah, let me take you through those scores in the National League. Solihull just played across the defence and back to their goalkeeper. It's Aldershot 3, Scunthorpe 1, Altrincham 2, Braintree 1, Bournemouth 1, Forest Green 1 now. Boston 0, Tamworth 0, Brackley 0, Southend 0, Carlisle 3, Yeovil 0, Morecambe 3, Eastleigh 0, Rochdale 3, Woking 0, Sutton 2, Wealdstone 0, and York 4, Halifax 1. Yeah, it's the end of the afternoon by Lipsitch of Fort Lipsitch, and for Wilkinson they're going to be replaced by Sanupe and Stevenson for Solihull Moors. Nick Sanupe likely to go out towards that left hand side, whereas looks as though Stevenson will occupy a more central role, or potentially come out to the near side, and Wakeling will go up top. We'll have to wait and see on that one. There's the throw-in is taken by Rutherford, gets it back from the feet of Warman, and then forward comes Solihull Moors with High up towards the edge of the area, out to this right hand side, and Stevenson just come on as a second half substitute. Cleared away strongly though after his cross into the box by Tom Parks, and then up goes Charman. Looked to be in a great deal of pain there. I think he landed very, very awkwardly. That is not good. He landed at a really awkward angle, and straight away there was a cry of pain, and Luke Charman looks to be in a bit of trouble here, Robbie.
Yeah, he looks in a lot of pain, doesn't he, Matty? And Luke Charman certainly not one to go down without good cause. As you said, you could see the way he fell. It was really, really nasty. You could see immediate concern from Adam Campbell, who's the Pools player closest to him as well. Credit to referee Ben Atkinson, it has to be said, because he stopped the game immediately to allow Danny O'Connor to get on the pitch and provide treatment, which he's now doing. Let's hope it's nothing too serious, because that would be a big blow for Pools. As I've already said, I feel he's probably been, over the course of the season, the best and certainly the most consistent attacking threat.
As Pools use this opportunity while Charman receives some treatment from Danny O'Connor there to take on some fluids and get 1 or 2 instructions from the coaching team on this near side. Charman still got his arms on his head as O'Connor examines. It looked the type of injury where it'd be like a kind of joint, an awkward fall, didn't it? A knee or an ankle or something from where we're sat. It is a good 50 yards away from where we are. But yeah, it was. Let's hope it's one of those where it feels worse in the moment rather than the actual damage caused.
Well, just occasionally that can happen, where it's more of a jar. Exactly, yeah. a jarring and a sharp pain rather than a serious injury. But it has to be said that you can still see Luke Charman. He's kicking the floor. He's got his hands over his face. He really does look in some serious discomfort. The stretcher
Danny
as well
O'Connor's
is being ready by the looks of it.
That's not good news for Hartlepool United. Just as it looked as though the injury picture had brightened up, and Nicky Featherstone saying that he had a few more options. We've seen Rhys McNally forced off with a knock that didn't look as serious as this one, but this doesn't look good for Luke Charman, it must be said. He's, as Robbie says, he's kept his arms over his head. The stretch has been taken across and he's still receiving medical assistance there.
And the thing about Charman, Matty, is I think you could certainly make a case that he needs to do a little bit more in terms of his end product. I think only scored 7 goals during his time at Hartlepool United, but he is such a good competitor. I think if you play up against Luke Charman, you always know you're in a game. He's got pace, he's got running power, he's got decent size for someone who tends to play on the left flank, and you always know that he's going to give 110%. He is in many ways the embodiment of what a Hartlepool United player should be, because he's so determined, he's so energetic, and he gives his all for the shirt every time he puts it on and represents Hartlepool United. He's been through some really challenging times off the pitch as well. Of course, the tragic passing of his best friend and fellow footballer Michael Newbury. He scored the winning goal against Rochdale on the 1-year anniversary of his passing. I know that was really something that has impacted him and affected him. I think a lot of people have a lot of time for Luke Charman, both as a footballer and as an individual. So again, let's hope that this is not quite as serious as it currently looks.
Yeah, let's, Robbie. He's still down receiving treatment at the moment. They haven't quite got him onto a stretcher yet, Luke Charman. Let's take you through some of the scores elsewhere while we wait for the game to resume here. In the Premier League, it's Aston Villa 0, Leeds 1, Brentford 0, Brighton 2, and Chelsea, who are down to 10 men, lead Burnley by a goal to 0. In the Championship, over on 95 FM, it's a frustrating afternoon so far for Middlesbrough. It remains Middlesbrough 0, Oxford United. Now, I'm just glancing at the stats. 75% possession for the Borough and expected goals of 2. And dominating that one and being frustrated by the looks of things at the Riverside. That one's over on 95 FM and Freeview Channel 714. If you want to keep in touch with that one. Here, of course, in the National League, it is Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 2. Another cracker of a game in the Championship, actually. Wrexham 4, Ipswich 3 at the minute at the Racecourse Ground in North Wales. So Ipswich, as things stand, would be losing ground on Middlesbrough, so Middlesbrough would be really, really keen to turn that draw into a win over on 95 FM. As looks as though it's going to be Sam Falarin who replaces Luke Charman, but they're not taking any risks at all here with Charman. The medical staff at the ground here have gone over to join Danny O'Connor. They're just taking on more medical supplies there, as it looks like Falarin and Matty Daly are going to come on actually inside the next couple of minutes. So that will be the final roll of the dice from Nicky Featherstone this afternoon. But our thoughts are with Luke Charman, who's been down receiving treatment ever since that awkward fall. He just went up. It's one of those innocuous things, isn't it, where he goes up for a header and he landed what looked like a pretty awkward angle, and straight away you could see he was in pain, Luke Charman.
And I think something like that as well, you almost, because you're not expecting it, you don't have any time to prepare yourself or brace yourself for the impact, and it does look to be a really serious one.
Yeah, it looks like they've got the gas and air out there, doesn't it, to hopefully help Charman with the pain that he's in at the minute.
And what you would always say, often at a football game, whether it's a serious injury on the pitch or an incident elsewhere, is you are in the best possible hands. Danny O'Connor obviously is a hugely well-respected physio at Pools, and there are plenty of medical people who do some amazing work at football grounds, giving him the best possible care, as I say. So he is in good hands, but at the moment it looks as though he's in some pretty significant pain.
Yeah, and the referee just having a conversation with the two sets of players there as the treatment continues for Luke Charman. Sam Falarin has gone to warm up away to our left. It looks like he'll be the immediate change made by Pools. Matty Daly for the moment has put a tracksuit top back on, or a jumper, a training jumper in front of us. Whether he's just keeping warm, I don't know, but yeah, the Pools players really mucking in here. They're bringing across the medical supplies back across to this near side. clearly a lot of concern for their teammate Luke Charman, who's still receiving treatment and looks as though he might have his leg in some kind of brace there. Going to be a pretty big amount of stoppage time because we've stopped play here for a good 7 or 8 minutes already, haven't we, Robbie?
Yeah, and you can never be too careful with these sorts of injuries, especially when you're getting ready to move the person who's taken the fall, and that probably is why the medical staff, Danny O'Connor and the rest of the medical staff, are being so cautious with Luke Charman. Sam Falarin, as you say, looks primed and ready to be the man to come on. I mean, he is a player who will provide Pools with the similar sort of pace and running power that Luke Charman does offer. He's never really been able to realise his potential at Hartlepool United. Only started a handful of games, of course, spent quite a lot of the season out on loan at National League Southside Chelmsford. Has been brought back into the fold by Nicky Featherstone to an extent, and looks like he's going to be the man to come on here.
As the stretchers hoisted up by the medical staff here, and Luke Charman gets a warm round of applause from both the Solihull and the Hartlepool United fans around us. Let's head across to, let's hope that injury's not as bad as we fear, but it doesn't look great at the moment for Luke Charman as he's carried from the pitch in front of us here at Damson Park. Let's head across to the Brewery Field, where there's been another goal in the National League North derby between Spennymoor Town and Darlington. Here's Ray Simpson.
6 minutes remaining. It's now Spennymoor 0, Darlington 4, and Quakers running riot now. Ball into the box from Ellis Stanton. Spennymoor didn't really get a grip on it. They dallied over a clearance, and the ball dropped for Jack Maskell to beat Brad James with a low shot into the bottom left-hand corner. 6 minutes left. It's Spennymoor 0, Darlington 4.
Thank you very much, Rez. The applause continues here for Luke Charman as he's taken by the medical staff down the tunnel here on a stretcher. Pools have made those 2 changes. Adam Campbell's been replaced by Matty Daly, and Luke Charman replaced by Sam Falarin. So like for like again, you'd suspect in that front 3. As the game is now back underway, long ball forward from Pools, and it's picked up on the right hand side by Jay Ben. Real, even more kind of motivation to go out and win this now with Luke Charman in the mind of the Pools players. As the ball is into the box towards Matty Daly, he hooks it towards the far post, arriving there's Tyree Sinclair, and Pools are in front. Tyree Sinclair arrived at the far post and slid it past Laurie Walker. Pools have come from 2-0 down to lead 3-2 here at Damson Park. Tyree Sinclair completes the turnaround. It is Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 3, and the Poolies are celebrating in front of the travelling fans.
Well, a remarkable turnaround for Hartlepool United, Matty. You've got to give them huge credit. They were well below their best for most of the first half, but they've been much improved since getting back into the game. And whatever you think some of the time of their quality, it's difficult to dispute their commitment and their desire. And it feels really fitting that Tyree Sinclair is the man to complete the turnaround. Now look, Pools still have plenty of work to do, I think, if they're to go on and win this game, because you'd imagine there's going to be a really significant chunk of additional time. You wondered how both sides were going to respond to that stoppage, and certainly Pools came back out of the blocks much quicker. Matty Daly with the looping ball, and Tyree Sinclair, who's been outstanding this afternoon, in the right place at the right time and fully deserving of his goal.
So it is Hartlepool United who have the advantage now. Those travelling Poolies away at our left-hand side. We're in raptures there as that one was stroked home by Sinclair. Solihull with it on the edge of their own penalty area. Falarin nearly nipped in to win it back for Pools. And the ball down the right-hand side is a Pool one from Solihull. Will be a throw-in to Hartlepool United. And Sinclair, who's just grabbed the Pools third, is first for Hartlepool United, going back to haunt his former side, who he's got 3 goals for during a spell with Solihull Moors earlier this season on loan from York City. And as Robbie said, you have to say he's the one who's really impressed most for Hartlepool United this afternoon. Real bright spark all afternoon for Pools in a otherwise pretty underwhelming performance in the main.
He's a sort of bums off seats type player, isn't he, Matty? And I don't think Pools have enough of those in the squad, and it's really important that they make the most of him between now and the end of the campaign.
As Solihull have it down the left-hand side. Forced back up towards halfway in Tipton. Tipton will play a long ball towards the far post where Rutherford will look to get there, but she's seen behind by Tyree Sinclair. That'll be out for a Hartlepool United goal kick. I think Solihull have made a change there, and I completely missed it, if I'm honest. There's a man on the far side there. I beg your pardon, no it's not, it's Sinupe. It was a double change, wasn't it? I'm thinking, I remember one man coming on in Stevenson, but it is Emmanuel Sinupe on that left hand side. 4 minutes to go, plus it must be stressed a pretty lengthy amount of stoppage time here at Damson Park after what looked like a nasty injury for Luke Charman, who was stretchered off here around about 10 minutes ago. Pools burst into life straight after it though and went ahead through Tyrese Sinclair. You listen to BBC Radio T Sport. Pools, who trailed 2-0 up until the 40th minute mark, now leading here against Solihull Moors 3-2. Goals from Alex Reid, Jamie Miley and Tyrese Sinclair. The long ball forward from Solihull's cut out there by Tom Parks, but Moors will pick it up just inside the Pools half. And it's driving forward now is Scott High out towards the left hand side, and Emmanuel Sinupe going to look to run at Jay Ben, puts inside on his right foot, but a good foot there in from Jay Ben, and then cleared upfield by Hunter. He finds a Pools man there, hits the deck. Good play there, experienced play. Good striker play by Charlie Caton, who was having his shirt tugged. Made sure the referee saw that the defender had a hold of his shirt, hit the deck, wins Pools a free kick just to allow them to play for territory a little bit here at Damson Park.
He's not the biggest in terms of size, Charlie Caton, but he is quite stocky, he is quite powerfully built, and he does back into defenders, and certainly he provides a different kind of physicality to someone like Alex Reid.
As a long ball forward is launched into the Solihull half by Nick Hayes. Bit of head tennis midway inside the Solihull half. Cleared upfield, but only as far as Hunter, who can bring it down, and then it's out to the left hand side and Sinclair plays the ball down the line for Matty Daly, just skipped away from Daly though, and allows French to give it back to his goalkeeper Walker, who clears it up towards halfway, brought down brilliantly though by Jamie Marley on the edge of the centre circle, and Pools back in possession. John looks for the channel, headed clear by Tyler French, flicked further clear by Rutherford, and Solihull between a couple of players look to keep all of it. Wakeling's come away with it, but Tyrese Sinclair battles away, then Warman's in, scrappy passage of play there, but Solihull out towards the left hand side now with Sinupe has Stevenson just down the line, goes back into defence to Stevenson to his captain there, Whitmore, goes out to the left hand side, and Cam Green. Solihull now towards the edge of the Pools penalty area with Sinupe looks to go past Hunter, who does really well, goes to ground and gets a foot on that, and it goes out for a Solihull throw, taken quickly. Green gets it back from High, and then Warman looks to Sinupe on the edge of the Pools area. Sinupe cuts in field, goes square to Stevenson, tries a right foot shot, beaten away strongly there by Nick Hayes. No chances taken either by Jamie Miley, and it's out for a throw to Solihull about 10 yards up from the corner flag on the far side, but that was a solid save from Nick Hayes, who pushed it away from goal as well, which is the important part.
That's the big thing, Matty. He doesn't always absolutely convince me, but he's a big man and he does really well to get down quickly there, and as you say, make sure he diverts the ball out of danger.
That throw's taken quickly. Warman up by the edge of the penalty area, looks to whip it in towards the middle, blocked by a Pools man, and then it'll be cleared upfield by Jay Ben, looks towards Sam Falarin, manages to get a touch on it, but it just bounces off and out of play for a Solihull throw up towards halfway. Sam Falarin just being told to put a bit of pressure on the Solihull defenders as Solihull work it down the left hand side to Sinupe. Pressure on Hartlepool United now. 10 minutes of normal time to go plus additional time. It's whipped in towards the far post. Arriving there is Rutherford. Up he goes. Gets some contact on it but can't get much purchase on that contact. And it just loops into the air. Nick Hayes can come out to claim it, and as suspected, a long period of added time, 13 minutes added at the end here at Damson Park. 13 minutes for Hartlepool United to hold on here. Jay Ben has just sat on his backside inside the area. I think it's a touch of cramp for the Pools right back, but 13 minutes of added time in this one to play. Pools leading Solihull by 3 goals to 2.
Plenty of football still to be played, Matty. You have to say Solihull so far haven't looked particularly threatening since going behind, but you would imagine, given the length of added time, that they will fancy their chances of creating at least one chance. There'll be some tired legs out there in the pool side. Of course, there's plenty riding on this game. It would be a massive result for Nicky Featherstone and his team.
It would, as Folarin wins a header really well, actually. Matty Daly can't quite get there. And it'll be cleared down the left-hand side by Solihull. Folarin tried to stop the clearance, but Sanupe will drive into the Pils half. He has Ben in front of him. Much fresher legs, of course, has Sanupe, but Ben sticks with him and gets the ball out to play for a Solihull throw. It's taken quickly to the feet of Cam Green, who's allowed to advance towards the edge of the area. It deflects out there off Ben, but Solihull back in possession with Sanupe. Sanupe has Warman down the line, finds Warman, now going to look to whip it in left-footed towards the area, headed clear by Parks. Only as far as the edge of the area, but Solihull will keep hold of possession, with Miley not able to quite get there. And French has it on halfway as the chorus of young kids in front of us are making themselves heard from a Solihull perspective. There's a long ball now from Solihull's a poor one, and it just allows Nick Hayes to bring it down with his feet and then drop on it as a Solihull man approaches. As he then launches it into the Solihull half, and that's poor actually from Nick Hayes. It's just gone straight to the waiting grasp of Laurie Walker, and Solihull can look to build again. 92 minutes gone in this one. Pools trying to hang on for a 3-2 win here at Damson Park, but it's Solihull on the attack. Sanupe down the left-hand side, up towards the edge of the penalty area. Whips it in right-footed, headed clear strongly by Tom Parks, but it's just going to come again. It's wave after wave at the minute of Solihull pressure. Cam Green whips it in left-footed this time. Again, Tom Parks is first to it. And this one will drift out for a throw midway inside the Hartlepool United half. Green takes it quickly to the feet of Tipton. Infield for High. High looking to come forward, gets it out towards the left-hand side there, and Green, who whips it in towards the middle now, arriving at the far post was Rutherford, but it's headed away this time by Tyrese Sinclair and brought down well by Matty Daly, who looked to launch it upfield, but he can only find Whitmore. Pools just can't get out at the minute, Robbie.
It's very difficult at this stage in the game, especially given how much Pools have given in terms of energy and effort to find something within themselves to get out and press. I think that the instruction will almost be as resolute as possible, don't do anything silly, and hope that luck is on your side as well.
As Solihull come down the left-hand side, it's whipped towards a far post, headed up rather than towards goal by Rutherford, and then it's an attempted shot on the edge of the area by High, and it is indeed that too high, harmlessly over the top of Nick Hayes' crossbar.
And you'd certainly take that from a Pools point of view, a really ambitious half volley from 20-25 yards, and that's why it's so important that Pools keep their defensive shape. Of course they will, I'm sure, be mindful of the fact that they conceded a 103rd minute goal against York last time out. That all came from a careless bit of defending from Maxime Coogan. They've got to make sure that whatever happens, they don't get undone by another individual error.
Some bad news to report from Brackley from a Pools perspective, but more on that in a second. The ball forward was looking for a Solihull man, and Cam John will clear it down the left-hand side. Southend United are now 2-0 up, 2 goals in the closing stages for them, so that makes holding on here even more essential for Pools.
Yeah, without a doubt. And look, Southend are probably the side in pole position given the number of games in hand that they have, but all Hartlepool United can do is take care of their own business and hope that at some point Southend are going to slip up.
Make that 3-0 Southend now. They've scored 3 goals in the last 10 or 12 minutes of that one, as the ball forward's looking there for a Solihull man on the edge of the area. I think it was Wakeling, hits the deck, nothing doing. Pools clear, but forward comes Solihull again, down the right hand side this time to Rutherford. Rutherford has French on the overlap, tries to get in towards the middle. Instead it's blocked by Sinclair, and Rutherford will pick it up again on the touchline. He has Sinclair in front of him. Going to look to go past Sinclair, comes in field, tries a left-footed cross towards the far post. Sanupe in a bit of space inside the area, under pressure now from Ben towards the edge of the box there, and Warman out towards the left. Stevenson tries a right-footed shot, blocked at the near post there by Coogan, who launches it into the Solihull half. Just what Pillsall wanted as Folarin. He might have an opportunity here. Whitmore, he got the better of him up by the edge of the penalty area now. Just take it into the corner maybe, Folarin. Goes past Whitmore into the box, beats his man, has support there, tries to cut it back. It was well blocked by Solihull. Moores out behind for a goal kick, and you have to say Folarin in the end did pretty well there, Robbie.
He did excellently, Matty, and look, there's plenty of discussion around his his quality on the ball, but what he does give you, especially in a situation like this, is that raw pace and athleticism. Means he's always likely to provide you with an outball, and he operates on the shoulder, and on that occasion as well, he had the presence of mind to beat his man and then win a corner, and that's really important for Pools.
8 minutes of added time to go in this one. I beg your pardon, 7 minutes, I could never count, but it's Hartlepool United with a corner, and they haven't taken it short. They whipped it in towards the area. Tom Parks attacks it, headed clear though towards the edge of the area, and Cam John might fall for a second attempt from John, whips it in towards the box, another deflection, it's out behind for another Hartlepool United corner.
And these are the sort of situations where, from a Pools point of view, you want to make sure you're taking as long as humanly possible, run the clock down, frustrate Solihull Moors, and that's what Pools are trying to do. It's all about game management now. That's so important at this stage.
Pools have only left Jack Hunter and Jay Ben back, so they're still maybe looking to kill it off from one of these corners. Don't want to take it into the corner and waste time just yet. It's going to be another corner by Jamie Miley. It's a deep one towards the far post. It's poor actually from Jamie Miley. It's dropped out over the top of the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. That's disappointing, Robbie.
It's really disappointing. Look, he's given everything in the second half. Jamie Miley has scored an outstanding goal as well to draw Pools level just before the break, but that was a really tired effort. I'm not personally a big fan of taking things into the corner, especially not at this stage with 2 or 3 minutes to go. I think then maybe that's when Pools will look to do that, but you've got to do much better with your delivery there.
As High wins it in midfield for Solihull. It's down the right hand side looking for Rutherford up towards the byline now. He has Cam John for company, comes in field, does Rutherford, finds Warman on the edge of the area, left footed shot, flashes wide, a good 2 yards wide of Hayes' post. Hayes slightly worried for a second, but it was always just drifting wide of that far post, but a good effort from Ben Warman.
Yeah, it was well struck. I think Hayes probably would have had it covered, and it never really, we were right behind the strike. Well, I mean, it never really looked like it was gonna threaten or nestle into the far corner. Again, from a Pools perspective, I think, look, if you get undone by a 30-yard thunderbolt, then so be it. I think they will be happy that their defensive shape, their organisation is good enough that Solihull feel they are at the moment reduced to taking speculative pot shots from distance.
Well, a little over 5 minutes of added time to go here. Pools leading by 3-2, and they managed to keep hold of possession following that goal kick. Caden goes back a few yards for Sinclair, just on the halfway line. Sinclair going to go all the way back to Cam John. John under a bit of pressure will look towards the channel. Falarin was in an offside position, surely. Yeah, he was. Sam Falarin tried to put it past the goalkeeper, and I think he's going to be booked for time wasting there, Sam Falarin. Pools will take that. He is indeed booked for time wasting, Sam Falarin. I don't think you can have too many complaints about that one. And the free kick's taken quickly to High. High drives into the Pools half. 4.5 minutes of added time to go in this one. Pools 3-2 up at Solihull Moors in the National League here on BBC Radio T Sport. Sanupe on the edge of the area goes back a few yards for High. Cam Green will get it now up towards the bar line. Across goes Jay Ben though, as the ball was loose and can clear it, launch it long into the Solihull half and give Falarin an opportunity to put some pressure on the back line again from Solihull Moors, but nothing he could do on that occasion. And Solihull will come again. Green out on the left hand touchline. He's going to come a few yards infield. He has a man on the overlap. He's going to whip it in now in High towards the box. It's going to fall there in the box for Wakeling. Headers inside the area. It's going to fall there for a Hartlepool man to clear. A few rather hopeful shouts of handball from Solihull players and fans alike. Referee shakes his head and play continues. Up towards halfway now after that Pools clearance. Driving towards the defence now is Warman. He has Green on the overlap. Warman will whip it in towards the middle. It's going to bounce comfortably in the end for Nick Hayes just inside his 6-yard box, and he'll take his merry old time over this one, you'd suspect. He's run around his penalty area and now will launch it high into the now fading evening sky. Up towards the edge of the Solihull penalty area, and that's surely Sam Falarin's taken out there by the Solihull man, and he has won a free kick. He tried to make a nuisance of himself, and he was almost clotheslined there by Tyler French. I don't think Tyler French can have too many complaints. He was just making a nuisance of himself, and he came across, and it was like a clothesline. He just took out Sam Falarin as Captain Whitmore tried to head back to his goalkeeper. Well played, Sam Falarin.
Yeah, he's done pretty well, Matty, since coming on, that's for sure. And Nick Hayes, I think his distribution in general needs a lot of work, but that was a monster kick. And again, when you've got someone like Sam Falarin, he is prepared and he is physically capable of chasing what might otherwise seem like a lost cause. And what he's done here is not just buy Pools a bit of time, but win them a free kick in a really promising position. Word to Matthew and J. Ben, by the way, who I think criticised often this season, but outstanding this afternoon.
2.5 minutes of... Yeah, agree with you, Robbie. 2.5 minutes of added time to go. Pools leading 3-2, and I think they're going to have a go here, actually.